Are you?
Yeah, pop, 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 pop.
Check it out. Check it out.
Hello, and welcome to episode number 49 of Date Night Thrice, where we have a top 3 in 3 nerdy topics by 3 nerdy friends.
I guess you could call it a 3-person perspective on several subjects.
I'm Ben.
I'm Em.
I'm Ken.
And that's right. If you are a past listener of the Day Night Dice podcast, you heard we were going to stop that. Well, guess what? We've come back with a new format after a small break.
Come dumb.
Psych.
Idiot.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so dumb if you thought we were going to stop.
Nothing better than insulting your listenership. Let's start off strong. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Actually, we had every intent of stopping and couldn't resist. And here we are. We're back at it again. But we're trying something new. So what we're going to do is we pick 3 topics. Typically, they're probably going to be always the same, but they might change.
Typically, they will be always. No, they won't typically.
They might. They might. They're
60% of the time, they're 100% of the time.
60% of the time, they're 100% of the time, they're the same. Like, for example, this week, the 3 topics are tabletop gaming, video games, and movies and TV. That sounds a lot like the Date Night Dice podcast, and it probably will a lot of the time, but it gives us the freedom to open it up in the future to some other things. Now, the thing I like most, and I'll let you guys talk about this too in a little bit, about the top 3 in the 3 categories, is that everybody gets a chance to bring something fun to the table, and I found it quite difficult to narrow down the stuff I wanted to talk about to 3 things.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think that's part of the point, right? So that we're not running through, here's what 12 movies I watched. Because the podcast is fairly spaced apart sometimes, right? You can watch or you could play or you can do a lot of things in 3 or 4 weeks. So hopefully this is a streamlined approach a little bit and juicier bites.
Well, exactly. That's a very good point, because I would always find that I would try to say, here's all the stuff we played since the last podcast. And now our intention is to do the podcast once a month. It doesn't make any sense to come and say, here's all the tabletop games I've played since the last time we had a podcast.
It'd be 6 hours long.
Exactly.
I wouldn't get to talk about any of them in detail, or we'd have a 6-hour-long podcast. So instead, what we're going to do is, like, maybe I had to pick my favorite 1 or 2 or whatever. I only get to bring 3 things, so I gotta be
It's gonna be good.
Wisely.
Yeah, worth talking about, right?
So I want to know really quick what everyone is drinking tonight. Ben? Ben said he was already drunk.
Yeah,
So-
because I drank, what is it, a KBS from Founders? Is that what that's called? They have it's a bourbon aged, KBS Founders.
Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Stout or something?
Something like that. It's 12%.
Oh my gosh.
He already slammed that.
And it's like drinking sort of like a bourbon beer syrup.
It is very syrupy. I'm not a fan of it.
It's
crazy
so thick.
syrupy. Yeah.
It doesn't have, like the nice thing about a beer a lot of times is it has that crisp bite of the carbonation.
Sure. Yeah.
And it doesn't really have that. It's almost like drinking like a bourbon flavored beer, a flat beer syrup or something. But the flavor of it I like. I just don't like how thick it is.
Okay. Just
Because
put
like a
bunch of
bourbon's
water
not
in there.
thick.
Thin
you
it
could
with
have
water.
watered it down. Concentrate,
Thin it with
Gross.
bourbon.
Or ice.
Now I am following that up
Oh,
with.
gross.
I'm a huge fan lately of New Holland Brewing Company, and I like if I'm ever my last drink of the night, whether I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 drinks, whatever. The last one, I like to do their Light Point Functional White Ale, which is a 3.5 or 3.7%.
Oh, you like to pretend you were good for the night?
And it's like I get to have one more beer. That's not quite a beer.
That's a beer that doesn't count for much.
It doesn't count, but I still get to drink it.
Yeah.
It's not a LaCroix.
That makes sense, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
That's
not going
good.
to end the night with a 12%.
That's like sanitized water at 3.7, right? That's medieval times. This is you have to drink.
I
I got it in the hot tub club koozie.
Nice.
Of course.
Okay, nice.
As one does. Ken,
Nice.
you drink
I
anything?
have the usual, my Surly Furious. with a backup of Saga, which is my favorite beer of all time. Nothing wild today. I was going to get some sake, and I probably should have, but then I definitely would have gotten, like, you would just see me zoning out for the
You're like
past
tipping over.
second half of the show. Yeah.
Do you
That's
have-
always the balance, is drinking enough because we're hanging out, right? Like, spoiler alert, why did we
Drinking
continue
enough to tolerate you people.
Yeah, what are you?
No, what
And
I'm
then-
saying is like, I get excited to hang out with you guys.
Of course. Yeah.
And so I like to have a drink, but
Sure.
I have to be careful not to drink too much because I have
That is classic,
listened
Ben.
to our podcast episodes where I drank too much, and it sounds like this. For the next game, I want to talk about. And you guys are
You're
like,
you
shut
guys,
up.
I had this really great game. You're like
That's
very
not
slurry.
true. That's not true. That's just because you notice it, right?
Yeah, that's true. You
Yeah,
notice
maybe
more.
you're right.
I have my usual wine, but then my backup.
What is
I
it?
didn't
What
realize
kind of wine?
Yeah,
Just
what is it?
it's like shitty.
M-stop white? Just in a...
Yes, exactly.
It's the house white.
It is pretty much. That is like random. But then I have the
Oh, man.
not your father's
Yeah.
root beer. So that stuff's good. I didn't realize
Those are
we had some
good.
in the fridge still, so I'm very excited.
What
was-
like you've been going towards the low calorie wines, and I feel like there's something sacrificed to go low calorie. Do you
Well,
find
of
that to be the
course.
case? Also, for anybody who's watching this on video, Emily's right here.
Yeah.
Like-
we can. We're
But you
touching
chose
hands right
different sheets for whatever reason.
Right.
to-
Now. Well, I had
you
two of
wanted
these.
some variety.
I had two of these, and Ben's like, "Is that weird if we both have the same background?" And so
Maybe.
but
You're just on opposite sides of the same sheet.
if we
That's
like
right.
could touch.
We'll get
through.
we'll get
That's
the
not
knee
a bad setup.
we'll get the knee cam in here, and we can show the setup.
No, I have low calorie because it's not low calorie necessarily. I want low sugar.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find
Yeah.
low sugar wines, and usually the low calorie have less sugar. And I find that I
Yeah.
have like, less of a headache or what. Like I just want less
Yeah.
sugar. I don't want a sweet, sugary. So low calorie usually has that, so that works out.
Nice. Is not your father's low cal? Because I knew I was
Oh, God,
probably
skeptical
for a long time, and then I had one at your house, and it was
no idea.
delicious. And I think we Googled what the calories were, and they're surprisingly low.
Like
Oh,
not
really?
as bad as you would
Yeah.
think, at least.
Like
I'm
what's
not gonna
that
look it up.
one?
Yeah, I don't want to know.
I'm tempted to look.
Are you gonna
Oh,
look it up, Ben?
One of my favorite
800.
drinks of all time is like a ginger beer with a Moscow Mule.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh
Those are
man, I
so
love a
good.
Moscow.
But
Mule.
like to get good ginger beer,
Oh,
it's like a absolute
Oh, my
calorie
God.
bomb. You're better off
insane.
drinking 12% beer than having
Yeah.
a good Moscow Mule if
Yeah.
you're worried about calories. So
a good ginger beer. Well, first of all, it's so hard to find them that are like less than 40 grams of sugar. Like they're
Yeah, yep.
insane.
yeah.
Where you're like, what about something with just like just cut out all that sugar?
Can
I
you
don't need
just,
it to
like,
be really sweet.
take it
You-
easy?
Like,
You're
Yeah.
right, Ken. I looked it up,
What is
and
it?
it's not that bad. Now, calorie-wise, it's 300. Okay, that's a big number.
That's pretty
but,
high.
that's
But
That's pretty high.
but
That's a McDouble from
a lot of that's coming from the alcohol because
Yeah.
total carbs 20 grams. Compare that to a can of Coke, 44 grams of sugar in a can of Coke. So you're like half the grams of sugar of a soda.
yeah, but 300 calories
That's
in this.
crazy.
This is like 70 calories for a
Yeah.
big glass.
How much do you think that
300?
KBS was? It's like literally like alcoholic cough syrup.
It's 12%. Well, how
Right,
many
1,200
calories are there
calories.
to a I used to know.
I don't know.
I bet it's
don't know.
pretty close. I bet you would be surprised. Anyway,
Oof. Oof.
oof.
Wow.
Why
So
is
that's
my
what's up.
camera so blurry?
I don't know.
Did I touch it with my greasy
Well, that's
fingers?
one of the
Greasy hands.
sacrifices we've gone to with splitting us up here. We don't have the super.
But
We don't have
yours looks so much better than mine.
the huge
But we didn't bring on the camera.
fancy camera
I'm gonna
setup.
try to. Do
I
you
love
think I
that.
can like?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Here we go.
We're all stripping. If anyone
Everybody's
wants to
stripping.
watch
Well, everybody's
the-
stripping. I am going to say, like, seriously though, the whole reason why there's
this
two
out. Hold
reasons
on.
why I wanted to bring the podcast back. First of all, I can't shut up. But second of all,
Ken is like showing us showing us parts of him that we've never seen before.
The podcast started because of COVID lockdowns, and we couldn't hang out with Ken every Thursday. So we started doing the podcast.
Hey, that's
and
actually
then
better.
Ken moved, and we kept doing the podcast. And I tell you what, as we stopped, we said we're going to stop the podcast. We took about a month and a half break, a little bit. I couldn't take it. We got to get back. We got to get back and talk about this kind of stuff. Like, I can't not do it. And for me, I think the biggest thing was, we have been doing the Date Night Dice Instagram for a long time, and it was growing, and then you kind of get the idea of like, well, let's make this grow more. How do we look? And then that brings opportunities. It brought opportunities like Board Vengers. It brought opportunities like people sending us stuff to review or whatever. Mm-hmm. And what I found is that also brought responsibility. And that took the fun out of it because I have a job and I have a family. We have kids and I have responsibility. And as soon as this became a responsibility, it wasn't fun anymore. So we said we're going to stop everything. And then what we found was there's a couple things we didn't want to stop. We want to keep talking about bad movies and do the D list. We want to keep talking to you and keep talking about nerdy stuff. And you know what? And so we'll just throw everything out of the way. We'll stop needing to post on Instagram. We'll stop needing to review games, and we'll stop being a part of like needing to upload YouTube videos or whatever for Board Vengers. And we'll just say, let's just do the stuff we like. Let's hang out, let's talk, and let's just like goof around about this stuff. And so here we are. We have the podcast back.
We're back, baby.
I can't. Oh,
can you
boy,
see
the glare
now?
is nuts. How do I?
I saw that Will got glasses.
Yes, he did.
Is he so much happier
That
now?
picture of Will with glasses, I just love that.
He's like, he doesn't have a neck,
Well,
like
I'm a little
excited.
skeptical. I should have asked what's his actual prescription, right? Because it's probably like the smallest.
It's like a 5-inch.
The minimum.
Is it, or was he blind as a bat?
I don't know. I need to ask them. He says he can see better, and I think it actually manifests itself. But I wanted to go back and say something about, you said something like reviewing board games took the fun out of it, and I totally understand that. But it flashed in my brain. You ever see that comic book meme of who's the blue guy from Watchmen?
From Watchmen, Dr. Manhattan.
Oh, yeah.
DDP. Yeah, Dr. Manhattan is floating over,
Big
sort
blue
of
energy.
Yeah. And like, it's sort of, and there's someone like yelling up at him, and the response is, "What did you think of this game?" And it's like, I don't care.
That is
I like that.
exactly what it's like.
I think I have it saved on my desktop.
That is-
The one I like is
It's
like
on your desktop.
it's like a lawyer joke. It's like, okay, source/citation, and the quote is, "I made it up." Right? As if you would ever submit that in a legal proceeding.
Oh,
or
man. All right. Okay. This is not gonna sell on audio or at all. But if you're watching the video of this,
You'll find the picture right away. But to be,
That's a great description now.
this is it. Yeah. Source. I made it up. Or what did you think of Taverns of Tiefenthal? I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
This is so.
That's
you
exactly.
guys are now Dr.
Manhattan.
That's us.
Yeah. Which I really appreciate, because then you can have fun with it, right? It's not if it, and we.
It
Whatever,
was
you
like
get
deadlines before, where it was honestly like, oh, we have to like post this, this, and this, and we have to get this review back and do this.
I live in deadlines all day. I don't need deadlines at night.
Yeah, right. Last thing I need is I'm trying to think. There's a famous YouTube movie reviewer, Chris. I think his name is Chris Stuckman or something like that. And he sort of, not too long ago, he basically did the same thing, which was like, I'm going to take 2 big steps back.
Yeah.
I'm only going to post about stuff that I like. And I'm just going to sort of get back to why I got into it. right?
Right.
Instead of watching, now we watch D-list movies for a very specific reason,
Yeah.
and there's a treat. That's a treat for us. But
That the D list is a search for like reason.
The best of the worst.
What
Right.
was going on here?
why did God put us on this earth? And who's going to answer for Mulan 2021?
Who do I call?
2020?
2020,
Somebody
I think,
needs to
too.
answer for this.
Yeah. So,
Oh, man.
that's wonderful to hear. Good. I'm
Yes,
excited.
It is.
We're back, baby.
Feeling rejuvenated. I think, like I said, I think we're going to have some juicier bites and takes
Yeah,
and hot.
right?
I can see them. They're ripe
Yeah.
for the picking. I can
Okay.
see it.
So, Ken, I have a
plums.
question
Yeah.
for you.
Okay.
So we don't know everyone on our street, on our
okay.
in our
yeah.
neighborhood. We essentially make up stuff about them. So
Yeah,
like
naturally.
when you see them working, you're like, what are they doing back there? Right.
Right,
And then
burying a body.
you're making up everything about
Yeah.
everyone. So down the road, it's actually Ken's old boss has a pretend farm down the road. It's taken him probably a good 6 months of plowing the same field. I don't know what he's been doing. We've been making it up, right? We have theories.
He's just dicking around.
And he's like burning stuff one day, and it's just him pushing piles in a circle for like 8 hours. Whatever. But something got planted in there. And Ben was like, what could it be that's planted now? And I said, it's
Like in
probably
a
winter
field?
wheat. Yeah. So it recently
Okay.
got planted
Okay.
within the last month.
Okay.
And I was like, it's probably winter wheat. And Ben answers to me, no, it doesn't look like winter wheat. And I go, how the fuck do you know what
Yeah.
winter wheat looks like? And he goes,
Pray tell.
I checked it out. It doesn't look like winter wheat to me. And I'm
It didn't.
When have you planted
if I
winter wheat?
if I had to guess what winter wheat sprouting would look like,
Stop
it
right
wouldn't have
there.
looked like
if I
that.
had to guess,
if I had to guess, here I got a treat for you guys.
is it winter wheat? Oh, okay.
There's Ben. Man, look at how tight his pants and belt are. Like it's really seamless. Winter wheat, huh? Have you ever when was the last time? I need to come out to Michigan and get Bell's Winter White. Which
Oh,
is
that's a good one. Yeah.
That's
That's
a
good.
great beer, and I think it's made from winter wheat.
Winter
think.
wheat. I think Michigan's known for winter wheat.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Ben says it's not that. What would someone plant at this
What would you
We'll
be
see,
planting?
won't we?
When does
I don't
winter
know.
wheat germinate?
We are not going to spend this podcast with me looking up what
Welcome
you plant
to
in
the
fall.
first episode of Date Night Thrice,
Right.
where we're going to talk
but-
about germination of winter wheat.
every time we
In-
pass, Ben today pulled over to the left and he's like, let's go take a look.
Let's look.
He's
Let's
so
get out and look. I'm going to prove
Got
it
out
to
there,
you.
he ate the
I have to be
the
right.
dirt a little
Right.
bit too.
rubbed it on himself a little bit.
All right, Em.
Yeah?
You have this is a new part of this podcast, right?
Yes.
You are going to ask us a question.
Yes, which in the future it might be a listener question. It might be one I do.
Let's
Oh.
bring our question music back.
Oh.
Wow.
Here we go.
It's
So
weird to
question-
hear this early.
Yeah, right.
Right?
This is like
is
you're
like-
going to bed.
This is. I'm like, okay, I can start like winding down and get ready for bed.
All right, it's time for bed.
So the question is, I don't know if you guys remember, at the beginning of the year we did New Year's resolutions. Do you remember what yours are at all?
No.
No.
Well, how's that supposed to help me then?
I was hoping you had done some research.
Well, my
and
resolution
Well,
wasn't to help you.
I was going to say, do you think that you have actually done your resolution? Mine
I
was to
doubt it.
travel more and to like do more random
I don't remember
things
what
like
mine was.
on the spot with the kids, I think. And I have done more of that. I also feel like I put a lot more on the credit card these days because of it. But
I don't know.
I want to know if you
What
guys
was
have
my
done
resolution?
yours. Because it's almost October. You only have 2 months left. 3 months, I guess.
If my resolution was fitness based, the answer is no. If it was virtually anything else, yeah,
There's
I
a
probably
chance.
did it. I
Yeah,
probably
you
did it.
probably did it.
I'm pretty successful in every
But
other.
you're saying fitness based? I feel like you have been doing. No?
Nah.
Nah. That.
I
I'm
have-
gonna know. Nah.
I have no idea what my resolutions would have
Yeah,
been.
we
I
shoulda-
don't even have a good guess.
Wow. Maybe your
We'll have to
resolution
pull up
should
the
be
episode.
to remember your resolution.
Yeah.
Right. If anybody remembers, let us know. Comment below.
I was thinking of oh my gosh. I was thinking of looking them up, and then I was like, I don't have time for that.
Not worth it. All right, we're
Great.
closer
Well, I've
to a
done
new
mine.
resolution than the last one, so I don't want to look backwards. I prefer to look forward. That's
Okay.
my
Do
resolution.
you have one in mind
Well-
for the next year that's coming up then?
No, I don't. I should.
Based on my current state, I can only assume I did not adhere to any of my resolutions.
You're in distress. You're in a free fall of life.
I have no doubt, based on all the pillars of my life that I would have made a
Crumbling,
resolution
just-
about.
Right.
I haven't met any of those things, so
That's true.
Right.
That's
Most
probably
likely.
true.
That's fair.
did not
That's
meet
fair.
any resolutions.
I don't
know what they were.
Pillar. Yeah, my fitness pillar I did not meet. Whatever it was, did not meet it. But the other ones, I feel like I did a banging job. I
Well,
did
there you
really
go.
good.
Well, there you go.
Actually.
You're in a
Nice
good
job.
place then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up?
You're on the
Yeah.
up and up.
Yeah. What about so we've got one yes, one maybe, and one definitely not?
Definitely
Yeah.
not.
I think
Okay.
that's how we are.
No, I squatted the other day and I was sore for a week.
My
A
legs
week.
have hurt for 4 days. I squatted on Monday. It's now Thursday. They hurt today. And I was like, well, I guess I just have to try and exercise again. And it's just going to be awful tomorrow.
This is just who I am now.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Just
I haven't done anything in a
doing
long
that
time.
weird walk down the driveway to get the mail because my legs hurt so
Because it
bad.
hurts to like bend.
Trying to chase the
gosh.
kids and your knees don't bend.
Ben was doing that the other day, actually.
Yeah.
I was.
makes sense.
I also wanted to play soccer, and I was like, man, you're gonna show me up
You
for once.
running like kind of upright because you can't.
Yeah, it's
bend.
a very stiff run.
Yeah.
Yep.
Finally gave you a chance to beat me.
Ooh,
And I did.
Nice.
All right, are you guys ready for the highlight of the episode? Are we gonna start our top three?
Yeah, big three top.
All right,
This
we
is
have
the whole episode,
we
right?
have all
this
been
is the
tasked.
new format.
This
right?
is it.
This is the okay.
And we look at we're barely in. We've got all the time in the
Yeah,
world.
we're
You
quick.
can
We're
elaborate
fast.
on your top three however you'd like to. So
Okay. I
we
will.
have for this week picked the categories
wow.
again of tabletop games, video games, and movies and TV. And everybody was asked to pick a top three noteworthy of the month in that category. Noteworthy can mean it was great. I love it. I want to talk about it. I can't wait. Noteworthy could be like, wow, this was insane. Don't ever watch this. Don't ever play this or whatever.
Ooh.
But it is
you go.
top three, like it's the tip of your tongue, right? So no matter how many times I want to talk about all 7 games I played,
Yeah, Ben
whatever,
was having a tough
it's
time
not going to
today.
happen.
He was like walking around being, I don't know, as he was thinking.
So what are
It
we going to
is
do?
tough.
Are we? Should we? Let's go. Let's start up
Why are you doing
here,
that?
So
and
we're
we'll
sort of
go.
like this.
Are the
Clockwise.
Let me ask this. Are they're not really the top 3 are not really in what's the word? Like 1 is not necessarily better than 3.
I guess it's
Or
up
do
to
I
you.
have that wrong?
It's up to you. It's up. You
Okay.
tell me what your.
I
No,
did
maybe
what I'm
maybe that's
most
a bad
excited
take.
for as
Yeah.
number 1.
So number 1
It's not necessarily
is-
the best of the best. It's my most excited. Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, I like that.
Right?
That's how I did it. Okay.
Ben, why don't you start us out? Number
me.
3.
All right, and we're
Let
gonna
it
go
rip.
clockwise. We're gonna go clockwise.
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, what do you mean? Just say Ken or me. Like, why you?
We're gonna go clockwise.
I thought
in
we were
the
going to
audio
start over
sense, which-
here. Okay, so you start with
Just
me. All
go.
right. My number 3 of the month is Gooey Cube. What
Which
the heck
is?
is
I
Gooey
was like,
Cube?
what the? Okay.
Sounds
What
like
the
a like
F is
a
Gooey Cube?
sounds like a software developer chat system, like a
So-
Slack or something.
Everybody's in a cube, and your
Right.
cube is your gang. It's
Welcome to Gooey Cube.
Get in the Gooey Cube.
Right,
who's in your cube, like that kind of thing.
right. You've
So-
heard of Metaverse. Welcome to Gooey Cube.
Gooey
I feel like
Cube.
we're onto something in here. It could work.
Let's create
All right.
the cube.
So, what we've talked about a little bit on the podcast. My Monday night group has evolved over time. It was originally an Imperial Assault campaign night, and then we turned it into campaign game night. We played Pandemic Legacy and a bunch of other things. And eventually, and that kind of grew, and we said, why don't we play a role-playing game? We played D&D. So for the past, 18 months, we played a D&D campaign. We started low level, and we worked all the way up to, we were 11th level when we finished.
Showing off.
Quinn, the Dungeon Master, ran 3 different modules. He ran the Sunless Citadel, and then he ran Tomb of Annihilation, and then our higher level one, I can't remember the name of it. We had to fight some necromancer in some other planar dungeon.
Sounds about right.
And then we wrapped it up, and he did a fantastic job. It was awesome. We had a couple little hits here and there in the middle. We ran There Be Goblins thing, where we were all goblins at level 1, and we had some fun with that. And
That's fun.
when we were at Gen Con, I talked about this. I ran across the GUI Cube booth, and I got kind of like excited about it because we're at this break where we need somebody's gonna have to run the next game, and I want to run the next game.
Okay.
But I'm never gonna have the time right now to come up with a game, right? And I also don't want to just run a game off the cuff because while day to day that might be exciting, there's never gonna be a overarching story.
Right.
And so I got kind of intrigued by it. We walked by the Gen Con booth for GUI Cube, which is kind of a goofy name, and they were running one-shots and stuff there. GOOEY, and then Cube.
Yep.
Okay.
So they have a D&D 5e compatible system that they've built. They ran a Kickstarter, I think, a while ago, where they're building this sort of this world of Zion Thay, they call it. Ooh. And it has a whole history. It has a whole set of races. It even adds new classes to D&D. It uses the 5e rules, but it adds some new classes. It adds some new spells and new magics, and a whole new there's a big world map, and then they're zoom in onto this continent and this continent. And so far they've released two they released one bigger lore book, and then a lore book about one of the continents, the west half and the east half and all this stuff. But the big thing is that got me sucked in is they also are currently releasing a campaign called the Red Star Rising. It's a 7-chapter campaign, and right now they have released 4 of the 7 chapters, and 5 is coming out soon. But the thing is, it's perfect for me. I want to run a narrative heavy, sort of good role playing version of it. There's all kinds of mysteries and intrigue, and it's going somewhere, and all this stuff is happening. But I don't want to have to come up with that. And so it's expensive, but you buy each chapter, and each chapter is like a box, and it comes with an adventure book. So point to point to point, generally this is what happens when you go here. So the first chapter is very kind of sandboxy. So depending on where the players go, this is what happens when they go there, and there's maybe a breadcrumb that leads them here and leads them there or whatever. And there's this adventure book that says, okay, when they go here, this is what this person says, and this is what happens, and then this encounter happens. And there's a whole nother book that's all the encounters and all this kind of stuff. So you have these these really nice books, but then what's cool about it is there's all kinds of handouts. So if they find a ring of protection, let's say, you're
ring of power, let's say,
you can be all right, you search the guy and you find 5 bed sheets, 3 things of gold.
The guy has 5 bed sheets.
Whatever, right?
Yeah. All right. Jeez, dog.
That is honestly one of the. If you found someone and they had 5 bed sheets
That's the most
on them,
suspicious thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Something wrong is going on there.
You'd be oh, you have a ring of protection, and it's little cards you can hand out, and there's a whole deck of cards of all the
Oh, I didn't realize.
Notable things that they'll find in this chapter of the adventure.
Okay.
And there's okay, so it starts out is I don't want to. I know some people who may be playing this campaign.
Don't spoil it.
But
Yeah.
it starts out that they're like up and coming youngsters in this traveling carnival group. And this carnival sort of picks up what are called blood touched people who are like kind of like outcasts or outsiders. Or they're kind of like been touched by this like weird twisted magic that's happened. And so the carnival kind of picks these people up, and you've kind of grown up in that. And the adventuring party is like a group of youngsters, and it starts off that their job is just security at the carnival. That's the first
Sure. Okay.
chapter.
Okay.
Like, go around the carnival, make sure nothing bad stuff happens, like take care of it.
Yeah. Classic.
And
Get rid of the bedsheet.
when
guy.
you like, like the guy who's the leader of the carnival, and like the person who runs the like food tent, and the spell dancers, and all these people you meet, you meet this guy, and like it has like a handout that you give them.
Yeah, it
and
has,
it
like,
shows
pictures,
him,
right?
and on the back it says like a little bit about him, so they can be like, "Oh, I remember that guy. That's this guy." Like we all have that here, and there's all kinds of like, again, like there's all kinds of like physical stuff. So when you're like, "Here's the carnival," and it's a map, and you like give it to them, and they'll be
Cool.
like, "Okay, well we'll go over here, and we'll go over here." All the encounters are already built.
Yeah.
That's
and-
nice, so you don't have to deal with that.
But it gets so detailed. So, like, there's an adventure book, and it's all the stuff that happens. And when there are security guards at the carnival, it all depends on where they go around the carnival to see what happens. And then, like, later chapters, maybe it's like, well, this happens, and then you get asked to go here, and then it's a little bit more linear. So they're going to go up here to this place, and then when they get there, maybe it's a little more
But it also
sandboxy.
it has audio, right? Like there's like witches that.
Oh, those like
weird
songs and
songs.
stuff. Well, there's like some like
But
little
I mean, like
goofy
that's
songs.
fun to be like this song was in the tavern, and you can like play it while like
Well,
that's
like
fun.
like a brawl breaks out while the bards are like trying to sing this song, and yeah, there's like some audio that you can play that you can hear right now.
But I just mean like there's more. It's not just like here's the campaign. It's like here's the pictures, here's the characters, like there's so much to it. Is all.
But what I find even more interesting, so there's all these handouts and stuff, and then there's the adventure book, and you're like, oh, this sounds all great. Like there's an adventure written and all these things. And what I find easy to run the game is like all the encounters already pre-exist. So when they have to
that's
fight a crazy guy in a cabin or whatever, like it's like pull the crazy guy in the cabin encounter, and it already tells you how it works. But there's a whole GM reference book, and that has the encounters in it, and then it has other
Nice.
stuff.
Yeah.
So it has what they call not so random encounters. So it can be like when the players are in this part of the game and they're walking through the woods, here's 5 things that you could have pop up.
Okay.
Put them in where it makes sense.
Right.
So it's like here's some ideas. Like they randomly
That's
come
nice.
across this falcon up in a tree, and it's like actually that falcon is a magical construct, and if they that's being spied on them from like a big bad that comes up way later in the campaign and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So you can like, and then when they talk to people, there's a whole section in the GM reference that's like rumors and lore. So it's like here's all the stuff that's going on in the world that may or may not be true, but this is all the stuff that people might talk about if anybody talked to them. So here's all the stuff that
Right.
people from town might talk about. Here's all the stuff that people who work with you in the carnival troupe might talk about.
Okay.
So I know you said it was expensive. Ooh, the root beer's hitting me.
Expensive.
I can't talk about if someone is actually interested. About how much?
How much is
Are
one
they?
chapter? It's like $50 to $70 for a chapter. I'm
Is
trying
a
to
chapter-
remember.
Though,
Is
like
a
how many
chapter-
hours of play?
Yeah. night?
I think they change. Like what I've seen is the first chapter is like 6 to 8 sessions. The next chapters
that's
are
pretty
like 10,
good.
11, 12.
That's a steal
That's
in my
a lot.
opinion.
Yeah.
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 Because
So
if someone said, do you want to pay like $5 to $10 and I'll do all the work for you tonight? I'd be like, yeah. I'll
Yeah.
pay $10 for you to like hand me a
8
booklet
nights
of
in a
what
row.
to say. Yeah.
well, when we
like-
played Tomb of Annihilation, that was like 8-10 months of play for one book. That probably cost $50 or whatever.
Yeah, but he had to do all the
Holy
work
cow.
of it.
He had to do all the
Right?
work. So if I look at one, a physical copy of one
you
of the
don't have to
chapters
make up how they look. Like, you don't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
is $70, but then you can buy bundles. So if you
Okay.
want multiple chapters together, it gets cheaper or whatever as
Yeah.
you buy more of the campaign. So
That's
I
the
have all
deal.
4.
I do like they have the pictures of the people are like full, like glossy, like nice photos,
Ooh.
and it'll be like, here's the monster, blah blah. Like
Yeah.
it's like nice quality.
Nice.
Which
And then there's even like that GM reference book. It's like, here's player secrets. So like one of the players may like have a secret thing that you're trying to build around them, but you don't want the player to know yet. So here's like how you drop in hints about like actually they're developing
Right.
into this prophesized character and they don't even know it. So how do you hint that to them? And it's like, here's how
Right.
the ways you can do that. And then that's chapter 1 is like you drop one. They have one weird feeling.
And they start
One-
collecting bed
And then
sheets.
chapter 2, it's like, oh, they have this crazy dream. And chapter 3 is like, it's becoming more obvious that they're this person.
Yeah.
And it's really cool how, like, in the beginning, it starts off like they're very weak. You're youngsters who are secure. You're not like high level magic adventurers. You're apprentices in this traveling troupe. And by the time you get to the end of chapter 4, it's like you have dealt with some crazy stuff. I'm so curious to
nice.
see where this goes.
so who are you playing with? It's gonna be you, Phil, Brian, Seth.
And and so then we need to see who else
And
we
then you need
bring in.
someone else,
Yeah, they
okay.
were talking about maybe one of their neighbors or whatever. So it's kind of built for 5 adventurers,
Just grab a guy off the street.
but at least 4. So if we played with 3, then it says you have to run like essentially an NPC
Like
tag
a-
along
Yeah.
dummy guy who
Dummy.
just
Yeah.
follows.
That's no fun.
Okay.
That's cool though
Cool.
because I haven't played much D&D or anything like that. Not many role-playing games, but I don't have a hard time being creative, but a massive aspect of something like that is pacing, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
And
Yes.
like I think it's severely underappreciated, at least by most player characters, pacing, right? Laying it in that this person is transforming into something in a way that is subtle, but somebody who's paying attention could pick up on, but it's not an immediate threat, right? So I just feel like pacing is such a big deal that gets overlooked. And I like that because anybody can make up a story about a guy who turns into a dragon, but most people would convey it in a way where the player characters would see that coming a mile away, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Right, or it like would
words for it
flop
or something
right away
like
or something.
So, or they wouldn't be able to once the player and then the player characters find out early and they don't know how to adapt to that, right? Because they were waiting for round 5 or whatever, game night 5 to reveal it. So, man, that sounds cool. I'm into that.
Yeah, the big thing I like about it is if I read ahead, like, and essentially memorize the story, then when the players inevitably do stuff that's not anticipated, you can off the cuff sort of like guide them around and back to the flow of the path because you never want it to feel like it's on railroads.
Right.
Like you
Right.
want
Oh,
the
yeah.
player characters to have some agency in this. But when you know you have to be at this place at this time, then letting them do whatever they want, as long as it's not like I leave the troop and we go
Right.
to Nevermore and we become bandits. It's like there has to be some level of agreement in the beginning that like, hey guys, like I paid all this money for this game.
It is
we're
a
gonna play out
guided
this story.
experience. Yeah.
Right, like we're gonna go from here to here. Now, how you get from here to there is totally up to you. And the more prep I do, the easier it's gonna be for us to both be happy with that.
Yeah.
That you can screw stuff up, and then that blue faced asshole gnome still shows up and tells you guys you're jerks
Right.
and you get pissed off. Like as
So,
long
who in the group, let's out them right now, who listens, is the worst to play with? Who is
Let's
the one
make this
who's
a section.
effing things up constantly?
Our new section of Date Night Dice is we're gonna out somebody as a bad
Yeah.
gamer, and we're just gonna no.
Who breaks the game?
Is it Phil? Well,
Gage
Ryan
breaks the
wasn't playing.
game.
Well, Gage is
Gage?
moving, so that doesn't work as well. You
Well, he's
can't.
dead.
Not in a- I don't
Lucky
mean that
for
in a
you,
bad-
he's
Lucky
dead.
for you.
Gage is a guy who can be like, oh, really? You've given me this like little tidless
And you're like,
breadcrumb of
"Oh,
a mechanism I can exploit? Well, guess what? You have been
Oh.
Just
exploited.
twist the knife a little bit, then.
Gage, when we play board games, let's say we play 4 or 5 player board games a lot, right? Like a good win percentage would be like, wow, 40%.
No,
I bet
Gage-
Gage's win percentage is 90%.
I was gonna say
What?
90 something.
Wow.
He's insane.
Always wins.
I
I'm
don't
not
get
even
it.
kidding. That's not even like, wow, you could never be 90%. You're 90%. You're absolutely crazy. I haven't seen Gage not win a game in like years.
The funny part is, I've only played with him a few times because I'm not at game night. But like,
Yeah.
even when I've played with him, the whole time during the game, he goes, "I don't know what I'm doing. What's this rule again?" And he's doing that the whole time. And at the end, he's like, "I don't know. I got like 80. Is that a good score?" And you're like, "Yeah, a good score is 40." So
Well, when we
It's
played
good.
D&D, right? He was like, I don't really know how to play, and then he was like, I don't know, I like have a plus 20 to hit, and I get to roll 5 attacks every turn, and I'm like, I do like 2 damage. And he's
Yeah.
like, I do like 1,000. So
oh gosh,
I'll take care of it. You just relax.
gosh. Well, nice.
What is
Yeah,
in
so-
your cup, Ben? Oh my God. What
it's kombucha, ginger
are you-
lemon.
Oh,
Why
okay.
does it look like that?
It's
I don't
milk
know.
and orange juice.
yes.
Why does it look like that?
50-50. They
I
call
was
it
also like, what weird. Okay.
it's not an Arnold Palmer. It's a who would mix, I don't know, whatever.
Milk and
so
orange juice.
like to wrap up Gooey Cube, right? I'm so excited about I was like, I took a risk, I bought this, I spent a ton of money on it because I want to run a game and I don't know how to make one.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna do this. I want to do it. And now that I've read through chapters 1 and 2, I am like, I'm like, let's start. Let's go. I'm so
Nice.
excited to do
Yeah.
this. This is awesome.
Nice.
Now, I will say one thing about their like world building and stuff is they have like some like goofy terms for stuff that's like
have to.
super cheesy.
Like what?
Like I've been listening to the Adventure Zone. So they just started this is a podcast where they do role play, the Adventure Zone, and they just started a new campaign called Dust 2. It's like a sequel to Dust they did before. It's not D&D,
Okay.
it's a different campaign system. But like
oh no, he's dying.
the one guy is like a ghost, and he used an ability in the last episode to like possess a train, and he was like, yeah. And they're like, okay, well, how does that manifest? What does that look like? He's like, it looks exactly like Thomas the Train, except it's my face on the front, which is like an Orville Redenbacher
scary.
character. And they're like
Yikes.
blasting through the desert, and it's like a ghost train now with his face on the front. And like that's funny when you make it up while you're playing. And like I was laughing while I was listening to that. But if that was written down in the adventure, you'd be like, this is stupid bullshit. Like, what the hell is this?
But you could always slightly change it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And I'm not saying that the story of the Gooey Cube Red Star Rising adventure is like that, but they have a lot of terms. Like the terms for their world is like the weirded world. And they have a lot of stuff that's like, okay, like oh, that's a little on the nose with what you called that. Like it's
Yeah.
just like
Sure. Okay. I get
Zion Thay and like all this like the weirded world and the Thul and like all these like the names for things like those ones are pretty good, but some of the other ones you're like, what is
like
You could
Johnny the
change-
Jew or
you
whatever?
can change names easy enough, though, right?
Yeah.
I think if
Just
I just like
names.
own it, if I just own it as the DM and
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
and
Well, you're-
then they'll have to be on board.
Big part
They
of
have
being
to
a
be either
DM
way.
or a GM is being a salesperson, right? You got to be committed to everything about this. You got to be on board. This is your baby. Not in a defensive way, but in a commanding respect sort of way.
Right.
So when a ghost train named Thomas shows up, you have to sell it straight face.
You mean Augustus Parsons?
Do you
From the
remember?
Augustus Parsons Cashew Company, which when he died, they
What?
renamed it to Cash Universe.
Oh gosh. Do you remember in Thomas the Train when the one train.
That show's insane.
When it was claymation, and there was one train that didn't want to go out in the rain because he just got painted. And so, what is the like?
Didn't they
the main guy's
cyberbully
name?
him into
What's the like?
Mr. Topham Hat?
yeah, the mayor?
Is that
right?
it?
Or is he the?
He's the
Yeah.
what conductor? I don't know.
He's
what
not
the
the
hell.
conductor. He's the
He's
mayor.
not
He
the
comes down
conductor.
and
He's
just
but
big and round.
yeah.
And
And he ordered
Thomas.
that train. He was like, "Oh, you don't want to go out in the rain?"
He just got a new paint job. He didn't
and-
want to get it wet.
And so he said, "You know what? Then I'm gonna brick you under a flipping bridge, and you never
That's right,
get to
they
do
buried
anything
him
ever
alive.
again."
I forgot about that.
But they did it so the brick wall was just up to his eyes, so he could see all the fun out there.
Yep.
And never again. He was like, "How
That's
do you like
messed
that,
up.
bitch? Like,
Yeah.
what kind of?"
There's an episode where
What?
Thomas goes to, I think, like the docks, and it's
Oh, yeah.
basically prison. Like all the cranes look at him and they're like gonna jab
Kill
him or
him.
something. Yeah, he's gonna get chivved. And like
That
all the
whole show, there was never a good lesson in it. The
There's
lesson was
something-
like, don't talk to anyone. I don't
right,
know.
never
I don't
leave
know.
your home. And because all the faces are on like
The,
unmovable
flat-
objects,
Yeah.
they're always looking out of the corner of their eye, right? Like, and then
That is true.
the boxes started making fun of Thomas,
God.
and they're just like, it's just unblinking
He's like-
clay
he's like
eyes
pissed.
looking at him, right?
Thomas and Percy were just like hot messes the entire time.
Yeah.
That show is, oh my gosh, good stuff.
All right, Ken, what do you got for us? What's your number 3 this month?
Mine's real short. It's already making its rounds. I texted you guys earlier. I saw Board to Play was texting it. It's
need to
Gloomhaven
share
on
that.
PC. It is free. I'm not gonna.
Really?
I'm not gonna sell the game to you. If you guys want to go find a Gloomhaven PC episode by us, we've talked about it multiple times. Go to the Epic Games Store, which is something you'll have to download on your PC and create an account. But the game is currently free until the 29th of September, I believe. So it's a big window.
Okay, so it's like a week here.
It retails for like 35, and if you had 3, maybe 4 friends who wanted to play with you, here's your chance to save $150 or something like that.
It's true.
Create an account, click redeem. That's it. That's get it. It's
Awesome.
it's a superior version of that game. If I'm being honest.
Yes.
I just-
As much as I
never
like the
go
board
back.
game,
Yeah, but it's no setup. You don't have to deal with like the enemy cards
Yep.
and like flipping over how much they hit and how much they move and trying to figure out any of that garbage. You just straight up pick your cards and
it's
go
just
forward. It's super
it just
easy.
works better. Go grab it, please, 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 please. Even if you
I
have no
have-
intent of playing it, just redeem
Get it now.
Get it
just
for
in
free.
Case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I have
$35.
107.3 hours played on Steam.
Holy cow! Well, you played a single player campaign, didn't you?
Right.
Yeah.
We need to start that back up though.
We should play
But
again.
It's going to be
Oh,
like
yeah.
winter soon. That's when you're,
But
it's dark at 4, so then you're like, what should I do?
That's fine. But
So-
I mean, like the beauty of that being on PC is that game is sort of frozen in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll always be good Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
Unless they push some awful update or something, which I don't
Yeah.
see that happening. But
And you don't have to remember how to set it up, how to play the enemy
Yeah.
AI, whatever.
I mean-
All you got to do is remember how to play your character, and guess what? That's easy to remember.
pretty
You got a hand
simple.
of cards that
Yep.
tells you how to do it.
yep, go get it.
Yeah.
It's my number 3.
That's a good one. I forgot I need to share that because that's cool.
All right, Em. What's your number 3?
My number 3, so mine is from the video game category. So we played Space Lines from the Far Out the other day, which we played on Steam. I wrote stream.
Stream.
So that's weird.
Steam stream.
Okay, so
No, we played on Xbox Game Pass.
did we?
Okay. Yep.
Oh, when I looked it up, it was saying whatever.
Speaking
That's
of,
free on Game Pass. Or,
Oh.
well, Game
Wow.
Pass isn't
Air
free,
quotes.
but it's
Not-
it's
Yeah.
a part of Game
It's
Pass.
on Game Pass. So.
yeah.
Okay. So it reminds me of Moving Out or Overcooked. So it's the same sort of thing. So it's a co-op game. You run your own 60s inspired space age alien airlines. And so during it, you have to like someone has to drive and navigate, and you have to like feed people as if you're like on an airline, so like getting upset, and you like someone has to pee, and you're like, oh shit, we gotta find a bathroom, but you're like out in space, and so you have to like navigate to a bathroom. So it's
Oh, you
the
have
usual.
to park and find.
Yeah, you have to like find
Yeah.
and like
That's
you can
funny.
pick people up, and sometimes like shit doesn't work, and you're like, God, we gotta fix. You know, it's the whole like running
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's cute. Any co-op game is always fun like that. And
Yeah.
I don't know how like crazy it's gonna get, because moving out and Overcooked gets crazy real fast. When you're like, I didn't know they wanted pickles on their hand, and you're like freaking out.
Overcooked
This
in
one
particular
hasn't-
gets
Yeah,
out of control.
This one hasn't ramped up like super fast, which I kind of like.
Okay.
It's gotten harder, but it's not like to the point where you're having like a mental breakdown already or anything like that. Where so Overcooked, sometimes you're like, I can't do anymore. Like I
Yeah.
mentally need to stop.
Yeah.
But the way the planets are too, you can kind of choose like which path do we want to do, and you don't know what you're going to hit for planets, and then maybe you can like upgrade or stuff like that. So it's a fun co-op one though.
Nice.
I found it comparing it directly to a Moving Out or an Overcooked, especially, is like in both of those games, you have to be sort of a jack of all trades. You can kind of be like, I'm going to wash the dishes and try to take care of cooking the meat, but everybody needs to know how to like cut stuff up and like watch the stuff baking or on the stove or whatever, or in Moving Out, it's like, okay, we got to get all this stuff out of the house, and I need your help over here.
Yeah.
And this is totally a lot more like an airline, where it's like Emily's like, I'm going to take care of the passengers, and then you just get us to the places.
Yeah, I haven't,
because
like,
I'm constantly
navigated.
looking at the navigation computer and then back to the
Right.
helm and then managing the power and like fixing stuff. And she's like, this person is like needs entertainment, and this person needs food, and this person needs a bathroom.
I'm
and
like,
this
somebody's
person-
sick. We need to get to a bathroom, and I'm like yelling at Ben.
And
like,
I
where
honestly
the fuck is the
have
bathroom?
no idea what she's doing with them, and she has no idea with how I'm driving the
That's
ship.
kind of. I like that. Yeah.
But it's fun though.
That's fun.
And you can upgrade your ship and upgrade
Yeah.
costumes and like the whole works and stuff. But it's fun.
Nice.
So yeah, if you like co-op games, check that one out.
What was it called again?
Space Lines from the Far Out.
Space Lines from the Far Out. Okay.
Yeah.
And it is a little bit of a roguelite.
Roguelite.
Roguelike. It's a roguelike. If you die,
Okay, I was like,
you start over with nothing.
Right. Okay.
So there's no you unlock
did. I
like
don't
you unlock
remember
like
why.
skins and stuff, but you don't unlock upgrades. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
it's a roguelike because we didn't even make it to the first destination planet without
We like blew up for some reason.
Yeah, we blew up, I think. I think I ran into an asteroid. No, it
Yes.
was like a comet hit us and we just
There is stuff like that too, where they're like, there's gonna be asteroids in
Ah,
this
shit.
area, so you have
Yeah.
to watch out.
Nice.
Yeah. So that one's that's my number 3.
Good choice.
Before we
Right.
get to number 2,
Should we take a break?
I need to take a number 2. No,
Me
that's not
too.
true, but I do need to I need to take a break.
Very nice.
Okay.
All right, we're back, and it's time for 3 big number 2s. I'll go first. So my number 2 is Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. Has come out on PC. I do not have a PS4 or a PS5. I, for a very short time, borrowed Ken's PS4 to start playing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Originally.
Gosh, that was 4 years ago.
I was gonna say that
It was
was
a
a
while
while
ago.
ago.
3-4 years
Okay.
ago, at least. Yeah.
So Spider-Man Remastered is the one they released on PS5, and that has come to PC finally. And so, have you played through that game, Ken?
95%. I didn't beat the final end sequence.
I like that game.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Well, we
It's
know
really
it's your
good.
number 2.
I mean, that game is that's absolute top tier. I didn't finish it because I'm notorious for just being like, well, I've had my fill.
Right.
And I did the same thing with Elden Ring. If I don't beat the last boss, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, right?
Yeah.
I played
I played the whole
120
game.
hours.
Yeah.
Beating this one guy is not going to change my perception of the game. Which
That's true.
I did finally beat the boss in Elden Ring. But I did. Anyway.
I don't know.
great.
The story
I mean-
seems fun. I like how the story is sort of like overarching. I didn't know that it was such a cinematic experience, and
Yes.
like how it sort of like builds on itself. You know, there's like
Yep.
you start in one place and then you end up in. I maybe
You end up in
2/3 of the way
another.
through the game.
Okay.
The combat's like Batman combat. That's kind of a common
It's
term
classic.
for that.
What do they call that? There's
Where
a
you
term
have like
for it. It's
counter
like a-
indicator and you're doing like melee. You know, it's that the first Batman Arkham Asylum game was the first one
Yeah.
to have that kind of
It's-
combat.
Like,
a
does it tell you
huge-
what to do?
No,
No,
it's like,
it connects your punches for you, right? If you're slamming
okay.
square and just moving the movement joystick, it'll target a guy for you. And in the
Oh,
case
okay.
of Spider-Man, it makes a ton of sense because he can just like whip
Yes.
around
Zoom
between
around.
pop and
guys.
zip zap.
It looked
okay.
weird in some of the later Batman games because in the later Batman games, he was like leaping 60 feet to punch one dude and then 60 feet back to kick
okay.
the next. And so it didn't.
Yeah,
Didn't-
that
It makes
sense
so much
then.
more sense with Spider-Man because you can like web zip into people and
Right,
stuff.
yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
the same combat system that was, or a similar combat system to Shadow of Mordor,
Yep, same thing.
which is sort of the thing I always think
Oh,
of
okay.
because I liked Shadow of Mordor and
There's a
Shadow.
name for it. And we should, well, we'll figure it
I
out
don't
later.
know.
But
I always just think of it as the Batman combat.
it is,
but
yeah.
it has so many options that I never use. You have all kinds of
Yep.
gadgets and moves and all kinds
Yep.
of things, and you unlock them, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this even does, and I just
Yeah.
punch guys.
There's a level of gameplay there that I think maybe the game could have been a little harder to require you to use, especially all the gadgets, because he has sticky remote bombs and sticky webs and remote sticky webs and the combat gets frantic sometimes, so you're not always thinking, well, let me trigger a remote motion activated web sticker, or I'll just
Right,
punch this
the
guy.
like the trip mine I've never used.
Right.
once.
Yeah, which maybe that's, I don't know, maybe they
That's
just
why
threw
you're
in too
doing so
much
bad.
stuff. But
Maybe I suck.
did you get to a part where you have to play as Mary Jane yet?
I don't like those parts.
Yeah,
Boring.
nothing against her.
Why? What are they?
A fictional character.
Just like
She's like sneaking
It's
around.
like a stealth part.
Oh.
Yeah,
where-
I don't need
okay,
that.
like
All
she
you
has
have
to
to do
help
is-
him out, kind of thing. And
All you have to do is not get spotted. So you're like walking. And you
The
pause and
only
you wait
one
for
of
the guy to
those-
pass.
weird.
Yeah,
Like,
they're dumb.
why-
Right. The only one of those that's okay is where Spider-Man is there too, and you're Mary Jane, and he's doing stuff, and you're like,
That's true.
That one's
That's
the only one
fun.
that's kind of fun.
Because he'll say
Because
like,
normally you're Spider-Man.
well, and he'll say like, "Hey, I need you to distract that guy." So she has to like yeet a pop can, or like you have to throw a
Right.
pop can in a right space for him to get the bad guy. Then you can move. But there's other ones where you just like in a soup kitchen or something.
Yeah, it's just her
And-
being sneaky, and you're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, fantastic game.
Here's the one thing I do want to say about it. There's a fast travel system in that game, and there's kind of a meme like that nobody uses it. And I was
Yep.
like, ha ha ha, like sure, whatever. And I played the game. I've never used it once because
It's unnecessary.
the swinging around is fun, but also when you have to, typically the missions are pretty far apart. And there's always stuff to do between
Yep.
where you are and where the mission is. And the stuff you do isn't frivolous. It gives you tokens that you use to unlock new suits,
Yep.
new powers, new upgrades. So you never want to just like skip from one place to another. I always find like, I got to get from here to there. All right, I'm jumping off this building and I'm swinging my way
But,
there
like,
every time.
If there
Yep.
wasn't that option and it was like, hey, you have to do something way on the other side of town, would you be like, why is there not just a... I mean, I know you don't use it,
Maybe.
but maybe they were like, well, whatever, let's just put it in there
'Cause
so
it is-
that people can't complain. Like, you have to go,
Yeah,
you know, like in...
that's
Right.
fair.
What is it, like Red Dead Redemption?
Oh
You
my
have to, like, walk everywhere for an hour.
Baby, yeah.
But, like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe
Yeah.
people then would be like, it's the same thing. You have to
That's
literally,
fair.
like...
Yeah, I think I think it's there
It's just way
for
more
that
fun being
small
Spider-Man.
percentage of people who don't want to web around forever, right?
Yeah.
And pick up the random stuff, which is fair, but it's cliche, but it's like so much of that game is what happens between the story where
Yeah. So
you're just
can you go in
webbing
the whole
around.
city?
Oh yeah.
You can just
go
do
anywhere.
like it's like an open. I
Yeah.
like that.
Like
That's
the whole
fun.
island of Manhattan, essentially, is the game world.
Yeah, that's the fun part. Not
Yep.
necessarily doing the missions. It's like I'm gonna go f around by this area and see what
Well, and
happens.
sometimes the main storyline feels like a bit of a chore because you'll be doing stuff where it's like, yeah, collect the energy canisters from,
God.
and it's like, I'm good. I'll go beat up a thug in an alley and get
Yeah,
like a
right.
scanner.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's
Yeah.
more exciting to get that little trinket stuff on the side, but
That's
And it is kind of fun when you come across a crime in an area that you missed somehow early game, and it's like
Yeah.
thugs, and you're like, I've been fighting freaking soldiers with laser rifles for a while. Like you guys, I
just
can
gonna
one hit
slap you
all of
around.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
or like
pretty good.
it's one of the few games where a following mission is entertaining, even though it's often like a quick time event. Like you'll be swinging around and it'll say, "Oh, there's literally a guy behind underneath you who robbed a bank," right? And so you have to get him, and you have to like, he's got guys with guns, and so you mount the back of the car. You have to land on the back of the car correctly. And then you're webbing dudes as they come out of the windows to like either shoot you or grab you or this or that. But
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's a fantastic game. I bought a PS5 in anticipation of the next one, which doesn't come out for like 2 years. Just
Right.
to,
It'll be
it's
like
that
an
good.
onion.
4
It's that
years
good of
after
a
that,
game.
it'll come to PC probably.
Right, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
No, it's
So-
good.
That's my number 2. Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, the PC port. It runs great on PC, and I would highly recommend it.
Where do you get it? Is it Steam?
It's on Steam.
It's on Steam. Okay, nice.
Not stream. Like
On
mine.
Not
Steam.
stream. Not stream.
Ken, what is your number 2?
My number. It was hardest to pick my number 2 because Gloomhaven was an
Okay.
easy pick. Free Gloomhaven just gets
Yeah.
a shout out. My number 1 was pretty easy. Number 2, I waffled, but I'm going to recommend the movie Prey, Prey, which is part of the Predator
Oh, I've heard of that.
line of movies. Ben, you look absolutely annoyed. Have you seen this?
I know
movie?
nothing about this.
Is that the
Okay.
Native
No, I'm
American?
trying to figure out what
It is.
what you're talking about.
Yes.
I've heard someone else talk about this and saying how good it was, even though they have like didn't care about the original. You know, like
Right.
they were
right.
just saying how good it was. Still,
This
yeah.
movie is excellent, whether you are an existing Predator fan or you have never seen any of them.
Yeah, that's what. They were saying.
And I'm going to make a recommendation. If you go to, I think it's on Hulu. Go to Hulu, find Prey, Prey. Go down and go to like options or other options or something because the whole movie is about a Comanche tribe. There is an option to watch the entire movie in Comanche,
Ooh.
and instead of being dubbed over, it's my understanding that they actually shot the movie in English and then they shot it with the actors speaking Comanche. So it's
Whoa.
not like the
hate
words don't
dub stuff,
mismatch.
yeah.
Right. You can watch it with subtitles. I'm not going to tell you not to do that, but like the level of immersion in it is crazy when you watch it in a different language because there's a certain degree of not understanding what's happening, right? When you're sort of frantically watching, and so little of the movie is actual dialogue, first of all.
I was gonna
right?
say it's all like common human traits of fear, right?
Right. You
Just
can read
noticing,
90% of it.
yeah.
I even, when I watched it first in Comanche and then I watched it again in English because I thought it was so good. It's
Whoa,
better in
okay.
Comanche.
So it's Comanche with subtitles?
You can turn the
Or-
Well,
subtitles
you
off.
can or
What did
can't.
you do though?
I tried both. I watched it in Comanche with subtitles for a bit, and I'm like, I want to go for the full Give me the
Okay.
full
Like
thing.
pretend you're just
And
watching.
I turned them off for maybe 15 minutes. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. So I turned them back on.
That's
But
kind
then-
of fun though.
Yeah, it is. Because even then, there's a portion of the movie, mild spoilers, where the Comanches come across French trappers. And the French trappers speak French. And their subtitles are in French. You cannot access what the French characters say in
Okay.
this movie.
So that's a no-go for
So-
that one. Yeah.
So like to me, I was like, oh, they did this on purpose, right? Part of this is to intentionally like make you feel isolated
Yeah,
and
show that
confused
barrier. Yeah.
and have there be a huge disconnect between the Comanche and the French. And then of course you have the Predator as sort of this third out superior threat. It's great. I mean, it really is. It's probably better than the original, if I'm being honest.
Ooh, that's what I've heard though.
And I'm a big Arnie fan. It's really good. It's gruesome at points. That's the point.
That's yeah.
Maybe a little over the top in some cases, but I really like the casting is spot on. The pacing is spot on. The Predator's cool without being like hokey. It's not like guy in suit sort of thing. It feels like an
Yeah.
alien and it feels natural and organic. And because it takes place in 17 or 18 or 1600s or something like that, he's
Yeah.
vastly he doesn't have the technology of what we've seen in a lot of the modern
Interesting.
Predators.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right? So he doesn't have all these gadgets and that sort of thing. So it's a little more hand to hand. It's a little more visceral. It's a little more personal. It's really good. I really think it's probably the best Predator movie they've ever made.
Well, I have to say, I think of all the movies or shows that you've talked about on here that I said, man, I got to go watch that. This one is
You
the
have to
most
actually go
like
watch.
excited I've ever. Other than
It just
like
tells
you,
me I suck at explaining movies or
No.
selling because I'm going to
No.
sell another movie to you after the
But
and
you
my
said
number one.
Hulu? It's
I
on
think
Hulu?
I'm almost certain it's Hulu. Yeah.
Okay.
And watch
I mean, you can
watch it in
always just-
Comanche. It's a different there's a level of disconnect, right? Where the whole when all of it is subtitled out and parts of it are literally incomprehensible unless you speak French.
Yeah.
There's a you feel the alienation of like
Well, yeah,
God.
right? That's the
Oh,
scary
God.
part.
well, I kind of like the idea even that like it really separates that. Okay, this is the Comanche people.
Right.
These are the French. This is the Predator, and there's me, and I'm none of those people. I'm
Right.
Yeah.
but right, we're all separate in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still
It's
that
cool.
like if you came across someone who's in the same situation as you but you couldn't talk to each other, like how would you deal with that?
And
Like that is the
Can we
you'll-
watch this tonight?
you'll
like,
get
let's turn
that.
it on.
even the English version, again, the French people speak French and the subtitles are in
are
French.
still like
you
okay,
cannot
so you
get
never get the
access
French.
to what they're saying.
There's only some
which
people on
I
Earth that
love
know.
that because
That is cool.
again, mild spoilers, but Comanche people come across French trappers. They're not best friends, right?
Yeah, right.
They're not, especially because the main character is a young woman. They're not going to be friendly.
Which
I don't know.
I like that you don't know what they're saying because you're
Right.
not
Right.
like you're just like her. Then you have
Yeah.
no idea what.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
whoever that actress is or actor, super like rock solid in it. Totally sells it.
That was the other
Yeah.
thing I heard. It was like she was really, really good, and
Yeah.
It
was
There's
looks
some-
like it's on Hulu when I look at
Okay.
it.
yeah. Okay.
To give it to bring it down a peg for realism's sake, there's some spotty CGI, but you just have to get through it. The CGI
is it spotty or they did it because the original wasn't.
No. It has nothing to
okay.
do with the Predator. It has.
Oh, okay.
There's a sequence. They have CGI animals
Oh, okay.
that are in it sometimes, and they
Yeah,
look like
I mean,
CGI animals.
They probably just can't get around
Yep.
that. I mean,
That's
yeah.
I'll keep it vague.
Yeah.
But once you're past that, it doesn't matter. That's like the first third of the movie, maybe.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's where it's like, well, you're not going to bring a real wolf in, so.
Well,
we're
yeah,
gonna go.
right, and-
like, that's fine. I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you sold me. I want to watch it.
It's excellent. It really is. It's really good. I watched it
Cool.
twice.
yeah, that is
Yeah,
Like-
dang, what's up?
I think I watched it twice, night after night. I watched it the one night in Comanche, and I was like, I have to see it in English
Now I need
to
to
see
know
if it's
what.
better. Like,
Yeah.
is there a better version of this? And it was
wasn't.
fine. It was fine. It was fine. It's
Yeah.
something about watching it in a different language it sold the premise of being alone and alienated and not knowing what's going on.
Dang.
Yeah, that's
All
like
right.
It was cool. It was cool. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Em, lay it on us. What's your number 2?
I have to go after that now. I feel like that was very.
Nah, that's okay. Everybody gets their moment to shine.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So now shine. Shine, damn
You can
it.
save it for
shine.
your number 1.
All right, my
It's okay.
number 2 is a board game, and it's another co-op. So it's a viticulture co-op expansion.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
Oh!
Sorry, everybody with headphones in. Yeah.
right. So it can play 1 to 6 players, which I can't
Wow.
imagine playing 6
Yeah, what?
co-op, but apparently you can.
Huh.
So it's like kind of the same as viticulture, but you're all working together. So you have 6 years, so like 6 rounds to achieve 2 things. So you each have to get to 25 victory points, which if you've played the regular game, like just getting to 20 in general is hard, let alone like everybody has to get way up there. And then you also have to get like a token up influence track together. So when we first got this, because I like viticulture, I thought this game was going to be like super simple, where I was like, yeah, we like work together and like make wine. And then we played, and the first game we were like, I don't know what the fuck we're doing, but this is not working.
Oh,
And we like
no.
totally failed, and it did not work. It's like a lot harder, which is good though.
Really? Wow.
It's a lot harder than I thought. So there's like a bunch of different decks of cards, and you flip cards, and you can get these little tiles that you can buy to put on the spots to make them like more worthwhile. There's also cards being like, this round you can or can't do this, or like whatever. Like it has different things to the base game, but you're still like planting and making wine, and you can like trade cards if you're on the same spot and stuff. But half the time I was like, I don't know what you're doing. I'm doing good. What are you doing? And then you realize you're working together, and you're like, well, shit, if you're not doing good,
Right.
like I'm not
Yeah.
doing good.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you thought, Ben, but it's a lot harder than I thought. I thought it was going to be a lot more like, oh, you just work together to do it. But instead, I'm like, I don't know how we're ever going to get to these victory points. Like, I'm not even close. You're maybe close. I just feel like we were always falling behind. Did we beat one or did we not? I don't
No.
think we did. We played twice, right? Or 3 times.
We didn't. I don't think we won.
I don't think we ever won yet.
No, it forces you to play very efficiently. So normally viticulture ends when somebody passes a points threshold.
Mm-hmm.
So all you got to do is score points faster than everybody else at the table. And
one is
this
not.
changes it so that you have a maximum number of rounds. It's like 6, I think. And
Yeah.
you have to hit a points threshold. Everybody has to hit a points threshold, and
Mm-hmm.
as a team, you have to hit a certain influence threshold by the time that round rolls around.
Yeah.
And
Which that's so hard.
and it's short. I mean, it's quick. It's probably about 1 turn faster than we normally play the game.
Well, that's the
Wow.
other thing. The regular game,
That's a lot.
like you said, you play until someone gets up there, but it's not
Yeah.
as so many rounds. Where there's so many rounds. I feel like I'm struggling just to. Maybe we're just really slow at this game.
For me,
Yeah.
what
how
I
do
found.
you... Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, so like Emily mentioned, the expansion plays on a whole new board. There's a bunch of different new mechanics, like shared influence and points, and there's a way to trade stuff between people. And there's a deck that you're playing through. There's multiple different like story decks that play out over the 6 rounds that give you ways to get influence under
they, like,
different
help you out.
circumstances and all kinds
Yeah.
of different stuff. There was one that we played where there was like another deck of cards that came out, and they were like new spots that went on the board, and you can upgrade spots on the board and all this stuff. And it's not all of that necessarily intrigues me. I think all of that works. And definitely we played the first time like we normally play, and it was like it didn't work at all. You have to play this like a co-op game. You have to be like, I'm going to do this, and what are you going to do? Let's plan out everything we're going to do, and we can meet up here to trade.
It's like that, but you also both, it's not one person gets up the victory track. You both have to.
Right.
Which is the tricky part.
But how do we get each other up the track?
I don't
That's what we're talking about, right? That was the
Good question.
mindset. That was the mindset shift. But for me, I don't think I would ever go back to and I'm not even a big co-op player, but this is such a puzzle and such a like more like meat on the bone
It
sort of
is
thing
more,
that I would never go back to the other version of the game.
Really?
Well, I don't know if I would never go back.
Never,
But this
no,
one is
I
definitely
wouldn't.
way more
Right.
tricky. Don't even
On God.
try
Throw it
to
out.
play it because
Trash
I'm
it.
done.
Yeah.
Threw away the board.
Well, the
heard it
one
here.
thing that it would if you learn to play the co-op version well, which you have to play way more efficiently, score points way faster. If you learn how to do that and then go back to the competitive game, it makes the competitive game way more competitive than the way that we used to play it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because now we've learned a lot, and it's going to be so cutthroat, it's going to be wild. Maybe it would
Really?
be fun to go back
Huh.
after playing it this way for a little while.
Interesting.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if we got like higher scores or something. I can hear Uwe upstairs just whining. We'll just have to leave
Just
him.
put him
Someone
on
could run
cam. Get
upstairs.
him on the 4th cam.
Right, the Uwe cam. He can be like
I think he
whining
just
on the
wants
street.
to
That
go
actually
sleep
would be-
outside.
Very entertaining to have a 4th
If I could, like,
audio-less camera. Just no audio, right? It's
It would
just
just
running
be him
down
hitting
here.
the window
Right.
and like whining.
Yeah.
It's him going nuts.
I
Yeah.
can hear him. But yeah, I don't. Just some co-op games are like, yeah, we work together, and it's just like, yeah, it's still fun, but we're just doing it together. This one was like a legit harder puzzle to deal
Nice.
with, so I think it was well worth it if you like viticulture at all.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I'll
I
split.
like that it's hard because it brings you back. We're going to keep going until we beat them, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to stop
gotta be
now.
hard.
Happens.
Yeah.
It's got to be
Nice.
hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we
This is
ready?
it.
All right. And our number one this month. Are you guys ready? My number one is a board game from AEG that we picked up at Gen Con called The Guild of Merchant Explorers.
That's a good game.
So this is a new to us game, actually just a new game in general. It's about the weight of, let's say, Century Spice Road.
Oh, wow.
Something like
Okay.
that.
Maybe a
little bit heavier, maybe.
Maybe slightly, but like yeah,
That's so good.
So
friendly,
it's sort of,
approachable.
think about like a flip and write game, where a card comes out and you fill out something on a sheet, except it's not, you don't write on the sheet, you mark things with cubes. And so you're supposedly explorers exploring out on these maps. There's several different maps that come in the box, but you have like a hex grid map and it has different kinds of territories on it. I think there's grassland, mountain, desert, and water. And in the deck, then, a card flips up each turn, and it'll be like, explore 2 desert spaces. And you can always explore next to places that are either your starting point, your capital city, or next to another one of your pieces. And those pieces might be villages that you put out on the board, or they might be your, like, explore tokens. So you can explore 2 village spaces. If you ever fill up a region with exploration, you get to put a village on the board. And I'll talk about why that's important in a second. But you're trying to, putting a village on the board can score you points. What are some other ways that score you points?
I mean, there's little treasure things you can cover, and then you get the treasure and score. If you go to like a big building, I don't know what it's called. It looks like a skyscraper. You can get those and score. It's just like if you get certain things, like it has a little list of what you can do.
There's like certain things you can do on the board to score points, but you're essentially like a card flips up, everybody has the same map, and everybody has the same card. Explore 2 desert spaces. Explore 2 mountain space or 1 mountain space.
But
Explore
it's
2
like you can do it however
water
on the map.
spaces or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you sort of like spread out. When you fill up a region, you get to put down a village, and then putting a village down scores you points.
Okay.
At the end of the round, you remove all your exploration cubes from the board, except your villages stay. So now next round, you have new starting points. You can start at your capital city again, or you can start next to a village, and you can expand out further again, and the same deck comes out.
And there are also, so there's always, I mean, and it shows you, there's always like 2 mountain, 1 desert, or whatever those cards are.
The deck is pretty small.
And then there's also a 1, 2, and 3, which are like specials. So you draw a card for that, and you keep them. So you each have a special 1, a special 2, a special 3, right? It's 3?
There
Am
is
I
a
thinking that
big
right?
deck of like special exploration cards. And
So
when
those are slightly different.
the special card comes out, the 1 comes out during round 1. You don't have a 1 right now, so everybody draws 2 off the deck and keeps 1 of them. And these are super powerful. So instead of exploring 2 grassland spaces, it's like explore 5 grassland spaces and 2 deserts. They're super, like, way more powerful than the other
Those are all
ones.
going to be slightly different, but they're all the same, like, strength, whatever you say.
It's a
like
big
how good
deck
they are.
of all kinds of crazy powers.
So obviously you can have slightly different stuff on your map because of those, but for the most part you all do the 2 desert, 4 mountain, or whatever.
But it is those cards where things start to deviate. So because in the first round you have all the standard cards plus the level 1 super exploration. All right. Round 2 comes out, you shuffle in 1 extra card. There's now a 2 in there. Well, when 1 comes out again in round 2, you already have a 1. You do your same 1 power again. So your 1 power that you picked in the first round stays with you throughout the rest of the game. That's your power. And that's how your board starts to develop different than the other people's. And when 2 comes up, you draw a new, you pick a new level 2 power. And 3 comes out, you draw a level 3 power. And there's 4 rounds to the game. In the 4th round, there's an extra card that says do your 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
But you always know what cards are in the deck. You also know what cards have been drawn. There's like there's a board that tracks the desert one has already come out. So I know that's not going to come.
Okay.
The mountain one has
so
come
you
out. I
can
know that's not
see.
going to, but my 1 hasn't come out.
Yeah.
So I want to try to get to this corner of the board where I can build a tower that's going to score me a bunch of points. Can I do that this round? Like I can see what cards are still going to come.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the way you like the simple gameplay, 1 card flips up, put a cube in 2 desert spaces. That's so easy to do.
Simple.
Yeah.
But like which desert spaces?
Right.
It's like the maps are pretty like big. It's like it's pretty
like
big sheet.
It's like an 8 by 12 or 8 by 10,
8.5 by 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit bigger than that.
But like, I mean, it's about that. Like and the cubes are like the little square cubes that you normally have for like a game.
Oh man, this is one of my. This is a game where we played it, and I went, we got to play that again. And we played it again, and I went, I love this game.
I think it's because it's so incredibly simple. So
Right.
it's like we've talked about before.
Right.
It's super simple. Who can do the best with a simple game? Who can and the fact that we all have it almost the same, it's like, okay, well then who can do the best with most of the same cards and like the same abilities and all that stuff.
Especially when you're playing from mostly the same set of cards.
Yeah.
With simple rules, it's very easy to understand, difficult to master, right?
Yes.
Like you can outplay someone by 1 point.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal or whatever, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
For me, it falls definitely under the category of Century Spice Road, where I can explain the game very quickly. Like we played this with the kids, and they could play it. They weren't going to win. There was no way they were going to win, but they could play the game because it's just when this card comes up, cover 2 desert spaces that are next to pieces of your color. Just that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
But you get to feel like you're clever. You're always figuring out, okay, which spaces. And I know the mountain one hasn't come out yet. And if I do this desert space, it gets me next to this mountain, which if I fill that mountain in is going to let me finish that mountain region. And I'm going to get to put down a village there. And now I have a new starting point for next time, which is a jumping off point even further because my special power is like I get to move as many spaces in a straight line in water that I want. And that mountain is right next to water. So you're like, it's so simple rules-wise, but you can like, you always feel like you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to be clever.
Yes.
Well, because there's theoretically an infinite number of possibilities about what you could do, right? I mean,
right. And it's so
You're
interesting
exploring.
because
everyone
could make the same decisions until you get those special power cards. And now nobody can do the same anymore. But you all have a super they're all super powerful in comparison to the regular card.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the name of it
really
again?
like this game. It's called the Guild of Merchant Explorers.
Yeah,
It's
it's
an
by
awful name.
AEG.
It's a very bad name.
Well,
It's so
our-
generic.
I always think of our board game store as what? Is it the Guild of Merchants?
It's
What
the
is it?
Guild of Modern Explorers. Is the
Okay.
game store in
This
our
is what
town.
I'm
So
talking
it's
about.
very
I
easy to
can
remember.
never-
Well, that's
No,
because
I can
Midland
never
is
remember
the
it.
city of modern explorers.
Right.
Yeah, but
Inexplicably.
I can never.
for no reason.
I highly recommend this game. This is my
That
number
sounds
one this month. I
fantastic.
really like
It
it.
is really fun.
And I like the colors. It's very like muted colors. Or desaturated,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
It's like muted.
But it
It's
has
like
a
Desaturated earth
visual
tones, which is
theme, right?
yeah.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Even all the player
I gotta
pieces
look it
are
up more.
very like desaturated reds, blues, or whatever.
Okay.
Like those sort of earthy, like somebody mixed black
There
in the
it is.
paint.
Somebody
Computer's
makes
been
black.
listening to me.
Wow.
That's how you make those colors.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know. Thank you.
I know you know. I know you guys know.
Oh, man.
That's my number one, the Guild of Merchant
Okay, that is
Explorers.
a really
That's
good
beautiful.
game.
We'll play that tonight, and then we'll watch Prey.
Yikes.
Yeah, honestly, you should.
We'll be up till 3 a.m. The only
Gotta
thing in
watch
that
it
game
tonight,
is one of the things is like, because you take money as points, and it's like you can keep your money, face down so it's hidden so you don't know what other people have. The money's just cardboard money. It's fine. But we use like the poker
Yeah,
chips, the
yeah.
Roxley ones. And
Yeah.
I'm never looking over and being like, well, Ben has 2, 4, 6, 8. Like I don't know. I just want to be like, it doesn't matter. Like just
The
play,
points
but-
tokens suck. They suck so much that I'm hesitant to
whatever.
play with them because
Yeah.
you have to exchange points so often. You're like, I have 3. Okay, now I got 7. Okay, I need to switch that out for
Yeah.
a 5 or a 10.
I feel like it's way easier to just have
and
like, the
you're like
chips.
making change so often for things. It's like, I don't want to play
Not
with these
to
like little
mention,
tokens.
Having to flip them over and look to find the right
Right.
ones
I've
to
never
switch
even
out.
tried.
No, like I wouldn't worry about that. Yeah, but
Nice. Okay. Visually, it's desaturated to look like a map, right?
yeah,
like an old.
yeah.
map. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. I like it. It's cool.
I think
Good
the
luck.
game comes with 4 maps in the box. We got the expansion at Gen Con. It came with 2 more maps.
Yeah.
We've only played 2 of them so far.
Yeah.
So
No, it's cool.
We'll
I like
see.
it.
It's good though.
all right, Ken. What is your number 1?
Well, to be honest, I'm kind of wondering if I got mine in the right order because I said Prey at number 2, and I have another movie for number 1,
Yes.
Okay.
which is the
Okay.
film. Which is the film, and it is a film. It is a work called Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. It is from the mastermind Jordan Peele of Key
Oh.
and Peele comedic fame,
I know what you're talking about.
but he is now sort of famous for
Spooky.
spooky / horror /
Yeah.
movies that double as social commentary
Yeah.
in a spooky horror.
I've seen previews for this, but
Yes.
honestly, his last couple movies scared me, so I don't.
I've never seen them because I'm a coward and I'll
That's-
never watch them.
exactly.
And they
Which
look
I-
way too intense.
Yeah, and
What
I
is-
understand,
it's-
like you said, there's more like social with it too, and like
Yeah. all for that. I don't want to
do
get
that.
spooked.
Why would you do that?
So I was like trying to see what the trailer looked like.
I thought someone was gonna come up and murder me. through the
For Emily's
sheet.
audio is my audio, so she heard
no
the trailer
way.
start, and it was like,
It was like, whoa, whoa,
Oh, yeah,
whoa,
yeah, yeah.
And it was like someone was about to stab me through
Oops,
this.
sorry.
Why would you
I
do
have
that?
not seen any. I've never even heard of this.
I've heard
So I
of it and
think he
seen
has-
it. I'm scared.
I think he's made 3 very well received
Well,
horror
he had
movies.
Get Out. And
Get
then
Out, Us.
Us I couldn't do.
Right.
The preview scared me too
It was
much.
too intense. I need to
couldn't
see
take
Get
that.
Out. Now that I've
Get
seen
Out is
this,
very good.
I need to see Get Out.
Get Out was
Us?
worth
But
watching for sure.
Get Out
Is-
was good, but not like. I mean, it's
It's not
scary,
slasher.
but it's not scary in the way of like the Us or whatever.
Right.
That one looked like I
That's
wouldn't
like-
sleep at night.
Exactly. I'll
And
never
I-
watch that movie.
I
You
can't. I'm
make
sorry,
me
I can't
watch
do
it.
that because I literally won't sleep.
Never
I
gonna
will
do it.
like sit there.
I think
no.
he has another one, and maybe it hasn't come out. It's called
Shit.
Them, which
Yes.
I think it's a sequel to Us, right? It's Us and Them.
God, I can't do that.
And
I'm like
I'll never
getting
watch
anxiety
those.
about
I need to
this.
go watch Get Out. I read the Wikipedia. I know what happens. I know all about
Get
it.
Out, I
I'm
would
still
recommend
too
to
scared to
people.
watch it. Nope is his most out there,
God,
from what
okay.
I understand, which is why I was okay with watching it. Right? I cannot do, with a few exceptions, and there are rare exceptions. I can't do like slasher stuff. I can't do, woman in the hallway holding a pair of scissors trying to fight for her life. I
don't
cannot
like
do
gore.
that.
I could probably do it if they don't show the gore.
Yeah.
But
even then, the gore unnecessarily confirms what I already know is happening.
Yeah, but I would
right?
rather
So,
just not see it. But yes,
That's
I
true.
understand.
Yeah.
I
But I'm not-
understand though.
The gore doesn't make me more scared.
I feel for me it's like psychological things that I'm like, why
Right.
the fuck did I
Right.
like
Right.
I'm watching this trailer on
Ben
mute,
looks like
and
he's
I'm
gonna
getting
throw
so
up.
scared.
Anyway,
What is going on here?
Stop.
I wanted to recommend this because I'm too scared to watch all of his other stuff, and they're all critically acclaimed. This one is not
Baby.
as scary as the trailer lets on.
Oh, thank God.
All right.
So follow
I would
me
say
here.
that Get Out is scarier than the trailer lets on.
Well, yeah, but it's not in the like. It's not like.
I think that was on
slasher
purpose,
theme.
though. That was
Yeah.
his first movie, right? I think the
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
was to get people
But
in
now
the theater
everyone
and then
knows he's spooked.
freak
still.
'em out, yeah.
Exactly.
This one, I want to say it's got really strong M. Night Shyamalan Signs vibes,
Okay.
but
Before
it does
like-
not stick with that for the entire runtime.
I'm like nervous right now thinking about watching it.
I'm still very, I don't want to say mixed because that would imply that I'm disappointed in the ending. The ending is very not what you would expect.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. It's because as we talked about, it's he always puts some sort of social theme in it.
Yes. Yeah.
And again,
Okay, but like you could do this movie. Like you,
I watched this movie without being
Okay, I can do that.
like I didn't have to
do that
turn
then.
it off and take a break.
You didn't have to be
or-
like nope and turn and do the.
Well, there's
mean,
scary stuff in it. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
And it has some super intense stuff in it, but it's not the point of the movie is not to be scary.
Okay.
Having not seen his other stuff, this feels like it's sort of it's a little more forward with the social commentary.
This sounds like probably the same level as Get Out.
Is it? Okay.
I mean, when you say Ben's like watching the
Well,
trailer. Because-
it's very different.
But I wouldn't
based
say
on
Get
what
Out.
I saw in the trailer.
I wouldn't be like it's not super scary, but
Like the
But
Get
it
Out is
is,
very
but-
psychological. It's very
Okay.
like
Yeah,
this is
but it's
I would
also-
this is not that.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm
and I don't even want to reveal like because the commentary aspect of it is not particularly relevant to the everyday person. It's a very specific thing that, God, I can't even say it.
That's
All
okay.
right, we're gonna have to watch this.
Yeah,
now.
we'll have to watch
It's
it.
good
sure.
though. It's a weird.
I feel like whatever he does is good, so I'm not doubting
it's
that
undeniably
in any
good.
way.
Everybody in it is good. It's
Yeah.
well made. There is a.
Can I mentally handle this?
Let me.
My big...
No, it's not that intense.
Okay.
I will say that, and I wanted to bring this up. There's a string of scary elements in it, to where when you get to the point of it, to the end of it, excuse me, there's a string of scary scenes and elements. When you get to the end of it, you're like laughing because you cannot take it. And so is the character. The main character experiencing it is like, no, this is bullshit. And
that's like, the only way you can handle that.
There's a lot of that in this movie. They act very reasonably. Where like,
I like
you know,
we're in some.
Well, I'm not going to leave
you're
this
like,
room.
why the fuck are you doing that?
And so they lock the door and they sit there all night, right? And they fall asleep and nothing happens.
God.
Because you're not going to leave the room.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's when people are like, I'll go check the barn by myself. And you're like, what? Why would you go do that right now? It's midnight.
None of that. Why
would that?
I want to watch this.
It's one of those. But
Ben, you're gonna be so
it's
scared.
really.
I know.
I want to hear what you guys have to say. It's not scary.
Ben
by the
gets
time you're
scared
done,
by anything.
I'm scared already. We didn't even watch it yet.
Maybe I can.
Scared of her, that's for sure.
This is not a. Let me put it this way.
We definitely watch things where I look over and I'm like, I bet you're scared right now. And he's like, yeah. And he's like freaking out. And I'm like, because I know.
How could you tell?
Let me put it this way without spoiling anything. Part of the movie becomes trying to get a picture of what is after them.
Fuck. I don't like that.
So what that means is
a picture? That is the scariest fucking thing I've ever heard.
They can't leave. Or they won't leave, and part of the whole getting a picture of it thing ties into the social themes of it. It's very tight. It's a very well done thing. But even the trailers are a massive misdirect.
Pictures of spooky
massive.
Yeah, the trailer on mute looked like there was
spooky.
We can
like
talk
UFO.
about. Yeah,
that's what it looked like in the trailer. There's some alien.
We should watch Signs
I'll say
again, too.
that's what it looks like.
All right. Okay. Let's stop. Well, no more. We'll go watch it.
Man, I was thinking about Signs the other day. That was such a good movie at the time.
That's a perfect film. And with the exception of the water joke, but why would they come to a
I just when in Signs when they're on the roof and they're in the house and you can hear them like scuttling around.
It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up talking. I'm not kidding.
I'm legit like I would have a heart attack and die in my living room
now.
because it was so good though.
In terms of like suspense, I've never watched a movie that is so suspenseful.
Right?
Yes.
Just like, oh my God.
So good.
They're outside. We know they're outside.
You can hear them like at the door for a second and right around the back.
They're fucking, it's just literally just a green dude walking around the house banging on the windows.
Banging, and you can, they're getting into the attic. You can, you're like, get out, like go do something about it.
I should rewatch that. I don't think I could handle it.
Yeah, right. It'd be anxiety central. Okay, well, my number one, we're gonna bring us back.
All right, bring us out of this whole
this nightmare.
Mine is also a movie, but it is a 1995 Casper. Is what we watched.
Whoa, really? Casper is your number one.
I say number one because it's like
Casper.
It's goofy, silly to the point where we rewatched it though.
It does, actually.
Okay, so in
It
my
holds up,
mind,
with a few
in my mind,
exceptions.
I remembered that. So it's a therapist and his daughter. They essentially are hired to go into the house to get rid of the ghosts. So he's like a ghost
Really?
therapist. Exactly. Because
I didn't remember that either. That he was a
Yeah,
ghost
what?
therapist.
he's
News
looking
to
for his
me.
dead wife, and so it's
I do
like
remember that.
his gimmick
Yeah.
or whatever, you
Yeah.
know. So he's hired to go into
Ghost
this house
therapist.
to get rid of the ghost, so that this mean lady can like take the. She thinks there's treasure
Yeah.
in the
Yep.
house.
Yep.
So in my mind, they were in the house for a couple of weeks, right? Like they hang out with the ghost, they know Casper, this and that. It's like a day or two in the movie. And we
Yeah.
rewatched it and I was like, what the fuck? Like I didn't
She falls in love with Casper in
goes
like
real
18 minutes.
It
Real
is
time.
seriously. Yeah, exactly. Like he makes her breakfast, and that's all it takes.
Best friends.
She's in.
Yeah.
That's it.
Does she fall?
Is that-
I
But-
feel like Casper falls in love with her, and
Well,
she
Casper
sort of
falls in
never
love
is
with
really
her.
on board with that.
But
Is that
also
Christina
like
Ricci?
it is.
Who's the
And
dad?
then Bill Pullman.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But also
Really?
like
Oh man. I feel like it. Sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I'm sorry.
You're good. Stinky, Fatso, and Stretch are the three
Yeah,
uncle
Larry,
ghosts,
Moe,
right?
and
They're like
Curly.
the. First of all, Ben
Or
was
whatever
laughing
they-
at them like it was Larry Moe, and like he was.
What a-
he was like,
I'm sorry.
good
It was
stuff.
funny.
What
No,
are the
but what
names
I'm
of the Three
saying-
Stooges? Larry, Moe, and Curly?
Curly,
I think so.
right?
Stinky,
Isn't it?
Fatso, and
Stretch.
Stretch. Okay.
Stinky, Fatso, and Stretch.
So of course,
My favorite scene of that movie is
Yeah.
when they convince him that they're gonna go get his wife so he can meet her, and
That's
they put on
so
the whole
mean.
show
That's
of
pretty
like
fucked up, dog.
he's
really
like
fucked
he's
up.
like oh and he opens the door and it's just Fatso like
Like
in a
dressed
dress.
up.
He's like come here.
But they do this whole thing where
So
they're like, I
mean.
think she's calling for you, Doc. Like that
Ah,
whole thing.
yikes.
And now you're like, that's fucking
It's
messed
really
up.
wicked.
Yeah, man.
It's horrible.
But when that happens, from when they get there and meet them, like they see the ghosts, they're kind of like, hey, too bad we're going to live here. That happens in one day. She goes to school, and right away the teacher's like, do you want to host the Halloween party? Okay, we did
Yeah,
a vote.
hell
Good
yeah.
to go. And the next day is like the wrap up. Like that's the end scene. Like we
Really?
are like, it is
2 days?
real fucking quick. It's like a 2-day
Don't
thing.
they like? Do they put? How does it end? Do they put Casper in like a juice bowl or something?
So,
and he like
they try
it's
to
like
get
a
Casper
primordial
back.
ooze.
Yeah, like his dad invented
He,
like a machine.
He sort of like ate out of a.
So
what
his
is it?
his dad invented a machine, and there was one like mixture left, and Casper's like, "This is it. I can become a real
Oh,
boy
that's
again."
right. It was his dad.
And it was his dad, but at the same time, spoilers, I guess, is from '95. Stinky Fatso and Stretch
30 years ago.
they accidentally kill the dad, Bill Pullman. So
What?
he like they get him drunk, and then he like falls into a construction zone and dies. So when
Oh my
he comes
God.
back home, they use the ooze
juice.
on him. And he becomes a boy or a guy again. And of course, Casper's like, yeah, great. That's great for you. Like, he's like super pissed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, sorry. And then they
Rightfully
have the
so.
Halloween party, and that's the end scene. Like,
What?
it is the weirdest. I totally thought
It sounds
was
like
different.
2 episodes of a show,
It is.
and then they canceled the show.
But the whole time during it, I was just like, seriously? This is happening?
Yeah, I remember
Like, it's
Casper
so
season 1.
goofy.
It had 2 episodes. The first episode where
But
they
man,
established the juice, and then
it's
the
so good to
Halloween
watch
party episode,
Old
and then they
movies like
canceled
this, though.
it.
The old movies are so simple. Like, so
Yeah.
effing simple. The fact
Yeah.
that they're like, well, we're going to do A to B and B to C, and that's the movie. And nowadays, it's like we have 10 seasons, and each episode,
Yeah.
and like, everything's so intense that watching that was kind of like, oh, it's day 2.
Just
I guess we
sort
should
of- yeah.
wrap it up. Like,
Yeah.
It's sort of like refreshing in a way.
yeah.
Like,
I believe
oh,
that.
That was
Yeah.
sort of enjoyable.
And everything's
I like
super
that.
simple.
We
It's
finished it
very
before
obvious.
bedtime.
Right.
There's no questions. You're not like, well, why did they do that? You're like, oh, that's because
Yeah,
this
right, of
happened.
course.
Like,
Because he
Like, the time
announced why
between
he did
when-
it before he did
Yeah.
it, right? Here I go. I'm going to kill Bill Pullman.
yeah,
And then he does
Right,
it.
like
that's how it is. The whole movie is they do the like talking to each other. We should get this guy out of the house, and then they go and try and do
Right.
Like, The whole thing is
We should
narrated,
watch it.
essentially.
Oh man, my favorite part of that movie is when I know I already said that once.
Which one?
When the lady dies, the like mean lady, what's her name? Kerrigan, and she comes back as a ghost, and she's like, "The bitch is back."
Yeah,
I
she
do
comes back and
remember
she's
that.
like, "The bitch is back." And what's the one
it's
guy's
so
name?
good.
Dibs or something? They're like, she's always like, "This is Dibs,"
It was.
and it's
It
some
sort
guy
of had
with
that
her.
like. It was that awful couple from Beetlejuice type thing going
Yeah.
on, right?
Yeah.
Where they want
Yeah.
the house or whatever. and
man.
Oh, but the other thing in this is they have a ton of cameos. So
What?
there's Dan Aykroyd as a Ghostbuster trying to
Yes.
get rid of the ghost. There's
Yep.
Clint Eastwood. There's Rodney Dangerfield. There's Mel Gibson. They like shapeshift in the mirror one time, and it's all these big names that I'm going, how the F did Casper get all these people on board?
It's crazy.
Like, it's kind of insane. And there's some others too. But when you're watching, you're like, this is Casper. How did all these people get in there?
Yeah.
Where
wow.
nowadays, I feel like that would just never happen.
Well, and
again.
especially because in '95, now you could say, hey, you could phone Mel Gibson and say, "Hey, Mel Gibson, we're going to
Yeah.
create a 3D render of you as a ghost."
yeah.
Right?
Like, can you
But
sign
this
off on
movie,
it? Like,
in '95, they had to have all
Yeah.
these people show up, sit
and like
down
go in front of the mirror.
in front
yeah.
of a camera,
exactly.
and film a 2-second shot, and then some dude had to composite it all together.
yeah.
That's
yeah, it's
insane.
crazy.
Which is just, yeah. So I don't know. It was a fun family, old timey classic at this point.
should
So my
Right.
favorite thing about this movie is
Wait.
when they're in
I was
This is
the.
gonna
the
say the
third
dad's
favorite
outfit.
thing.
The dad's outfit, though, I was like, Ben, you should start dressing
Well,
like this.
okay,
It was
and my
pretty
next
good.
favorite.
I mean, look it up.
I love the
next
wake
favorite.
me upper machine, like sitting in the chair,
Oh.
and there's like
And it's like
razor
stuff goes
blades,
through
like just
to
doing
shave.
this that are gonna
Oh.
shave him, like sour, like
You know, it
shaving
does
cream
shaving
shoots out,
cream,
and
a
it's just they just go.
brush.
Yeah.
That's such a classic.
What's funny and very subtle is that the dad, they show one picture of him. First of all, he was supposed to have been alive in like 1950, and it looks like he's from like 1850.
I would think 1850.
He has
It's like an
a
old
big curly mustache, and yeah, it's like from an
black
1800s
and white
paper.
oval, like yeah.
It's very odd. But when, Nibs or whatever, the assistant
it's
guy goes
Dibs.
through the wake me upper machine and like he gets all
Dibs
cut
with a
up
D.
from
It
the
is,
stuff.
yeah.
When he comes out of there, like he's completely clean shaven, except the shaving cream is still where a mustache would be.
Yeah, just
because the
design.
dad always had a mustache.
Yeah. His hair's
It's such
like
a
slicked
subtle, like they
back.
didn't have to do that at all.
Right,
It's
right.
so funny that it's like that.
It's such good stuff.
Amazing.
I don't know. I just
This-
enjoy the 90s like movies are so like
Well,
I don't
this
know,
is
they're
oh
so
man.
simple.
Talk about dad stereotypes of the 90s. If your dad was not like a entrepreneurial inventor who worked out of the attic in the 90s, right? Like,
Right?
Exactly.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I'm trying to turn all my
Yes.
kids into a ghost. I'm like
Man.
Beetlejuice had something weird about it. She was an artist or something. Like
Right? There's so
Oh,
many
beautiful.
good. Oh man, another good movie is The Burbs. That's another one we should watch.
I've never
for
seen it.
Halloween, Ben. You should watch The Burbs with Tom
Yeah.
Hanks. That's so good.
I've heard.
Also,
good
the
things.
funny thing in that one is the like fat guy in that one is like he's not fat. Like
Right,
it's just a
right.
regular person. Everyone's like, "Hey, fatso, like get on over." You're like, and you're like, I'm pretty sure he's a regular guy.
Hey,
at
guy
this
with
point,
an
but-
extra 10 or 15.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's up,
And they're like, yeah,
lard
you know,
tub?
your fat neighbor. Like the whole time, they're just totally beating him down. And you're like, I don't know.
Ruthless. Yeah.
That's a good movie, too, though.
All right. I think that wraps up our top 3 of the big 3 for this month.
The
So,
big 3.
very
Nice.
successful first run through. All right. That sound means it's time for our Would You Rather. So, I hope everybody has one prepared. I am trying to think one up on the spot. I'll go first here because you know what's on my mind right now is Lord of the Rings, which is something we didn't talk about
I
today.
was
Maybe we'll
surprised.
talk
I
about
thought
that
you
in
were
the
going
future.
to, Ben.
It could have made the list.
It
definitely-
could have, but I kind of want to see a few more
We'll get there.
episodes.
Yep. That's fair.
And I'm really tempted to say
Would you rather date Galadriel?
Would you rather the Wheel of Time show or the Lord of the Rings show?
Is that what you're really doing?
Like,
No, that's too
continue,
easy of a
or-
choice.
Yeah.
I want to hear.
Here's
Would I
my
rather
would you
date
rather.
Galadriel or what's my other option?
I said young Galadriel or old Galadriel is what I said, but
I'm fine.
I don't think I could handle young Galadriel.
young
She's
one seems like she'd be a
intense,
little
man.
bitch. She would like,
She's.
Okay,
I don't think
let
she
me
wants
ask
to
this.
date me. So,
Here,
right? She would like slap you. That's all.
yeah.
Here's my would you rather. Amazon's dumping tons of money into fantasy
Okay.
series.
I like. where
Would
this
you
is going.
rather see season 2 of The Wheel of Time by Amazon or season 1 of The Stormlight Archive by Amazon?
Yeah, but I can't answer
Stormlight
that.
Archive season 1? Well,
You can. Just because you haven't read the books, I'm asking you the question.
Well, I'd rather see what was it? Season 2?
Season 2 of The Wheel of Time.
I'd rather see season 2 just because I've read them.
Okay,
And-
that's a fair answer.
Why would I want to
That's
see
fair.
a show I don't
that's
know?
fair. And I'd rather just nobody ever adapt Stormlight Archives.
Like, keep it a book and it's good.
Just leave it.
Don't you think Stormlight would adapt well to a visual medium?
I do think it would. I think it would
need
adapt
money.
very well. But
Is it one
who
of those things,
owns
if
it?
you don't go all out, then it's not good, though?
Of
No.
course, you'd have to go all out because you
I don't
need
think so.
you need the big shard plate, the swords, people
I can
flying in
do
front of
that.
storms.
That's easy.
Is that Sun Volano floating down a hallway at people?
Is that the
Is that
key?
Sun?
That's all been done before, though. That's ultra
true.
easy.
You just gotta. I'm saying you gotta really invest in it. You gotta build the
Well,
giant CG rock.
They
monsters.
apparently threw. Hold on. What's the budget
I don't
for
know.
While you
Rings
look
of
this up,
I
Power?
don't know if
I would-
anyone knows, but Ken is actually our intern who does our
Yeah.
research for us. So
Her.
Ken's been interning for quite some time.
While Ken is looking
budget?
this up, I honestly think that I would rather see season 1 of the Stormlight Archive than
That
another
think
season
so.
of the Wheel of Time
There's
show.
not one person listening that's surprised by what you just said. You being like, I'm gonna give you guys a little secret.
Because it could be good, and the Wheel of Time show sucks.
Of course it sucks. You didn't ask.
How could
does
you
it
take
suck?
source material and just screw it up that much?
But what I'm saying is, we all knew what you were trying to say. You were trying to say Wheel of Time sucks.
Because it does.
Hashtag sucks for life.
Fine, I'll think of another would you rather.
It's not going to tell me what the actual numbers are, but
I'll go to my book. Okay, Emily, what is it? What's your would you rather?
Oh, okay. I'm just going to say for the month of October, we'll say for this one. Would you rather only drink Starbucks pumpkin spice lattes? And I'm saying only. Like, you cannot have water
Only?
or anything.
Only.
Or,
Oh my
Wait,
God.
do I... Okay, I'll let you finish, then ask.
so I'll
ask my
die
questions.
by pumpkin spice
yeah,
latte.
or spicy Mountain Dew. You know, like the hot, spicy... What is that one
Yeah.
called? Does it have a specific name, or is
What
it
is
spicy?
it called? No, you're right.
Okay.
You're right. It has. a
Okay,
name.
let me ask this. Do we suffer any negative health
Okay,
consequences?
I'll give you guys each a
from
glass
either.
of water a day. A glass of water a day. Other than that, you have
I'll
to have
still
one of these.
die.
You're not gonna die. I
So you
practically
guarantee
do
I
this
will not
right
die?
now. You won't die. Guarantee.
I'll
it.
drink the spicy Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like
Okay.
sugar. I don't like sweet. I especially don't
Is
like
it
to
spicy
drink
Mountain Dew?
sweet.
Like, how much?
Yeah, but you don't.
Look up. Intern
doesn't
Ken, look up
taste
how
like
much
sugar.
spicy Mountain Dew. How much sugar is in that?
Tastes like spicy, not sugar.
I know, but how much sugar is in it?
I'm sure it's 50 grams. It's probably 2 tablespoons. I'm sure.
Look,
Yeah. Here, hold on.
I haven't had a
Mountain-
pumpkin spice latte
Man, you guys
in
are really making
years.
You guys are making the intern
The intern has to
really
keep some
work his
live
ass
work.
off here.
But I would, for me, it's no
61
choice.
grams
Oh, in the Mountain Dew?
in a Mountain Dew.
Oh.
16 fluid ounces.
God,
60 grams.
Whoa.
that like hurts my stomach. Right
That's
now.
like multiple days worth of sugar intake.
That is insane.
Wow.
Now imagine if that's your only drink.
Yeah, but
what do
it's
you
spicy.
What do you pick, Emily? I can't picture you Even if you're not, it's
I'm
not a
gonna-
monthly
so-
requirement. I can't picture you drinking one spicy Mountain Dew.
I'm gonna have to go with the pumpkin spice latte. Now I hate
Hold on. How much
Pumpkin-flavored-
sugar?
pretty much
Yes,
anything other than
okay.
pumpkin pie. I hate pumpkin anything.
Spice latte.
But
Really?
I would
Oh, I
take.
love
Such a
pumpkin
weird
stuff.
thing to hate.
I hate it so much. When everyone's like pumpkin drinks, I just want to like throw up. I hate it so much.
I get that
It's
you don't
not
want to
pumpkin
drink it.
flavored though. It has the
It's sugar
spices that are.
flavored.
I still don't.
It has
I
the
don't,
the spices
I don't want
Alright.
those in
of-
a drink.
What's
Others-
wrong with the
other
nutmeg
than cider.
and
Stop the presses. How many grams of sugar you think are in a PSL?
Probably a good 80,
30?
70.
You're right. You guys went on both sides. 50. So it's not far
Whoa.
from the
50
60
grams of sugar in a pumpkin spice
No,
latte?
here's my only
Yeah.
thing.
Dang it. I guess I never get to
I'm gonna
have
hope that it at least energizes me enough for the day until I can drink my one glass of water.
Which one has
And
more
then-
caffeine?
I'm sure
I-
the coffee, I would think.
I'm gonna at
Probably.
least
But I
go
could
with
be- I mean-
the latte. I hate, first of all, Mountain Dew. I hate in general. Let
Yeah,
alone
but you
spicy
wanna-
Mountain Dew.
Ew, I
Is
don't
the-
understand your question here.
Hot
we know what you're
pumpkin
picking.
spice in the middle of it's 4th of July. You're parched.
No, it's just for
been-
October.
Oh, okay. I
Just for
thought this
October,
was
1 month.
literally for life.
No, life you would die. Yeah, that would be the death.
That's why we led with like, are you trying to like we die?
I
So
said, no, just for 1 month, we'll say. And I'll
okay.
give you a colder month, so October. Which I mean could be
no,
warm, but you have
like
a
I
chance.
already planned to only drink pumpkin spice lattes in October.
For a month?
So this is
true.
not a wood. This is I am going to.
I just hate-
This is I did either.
welcome,
I got
welcome to
the
this
other day,
part of the
so-
show called "What Are You Gonna Do in October?"
Right.
Is drink.
I'll know what I'm gonna do.
Rarely do I actually go to Starbucks, but we have a bunch of like gift cards. And the other day I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get something, and I got some sort of like apple. I don't know, apple cider or something, and I hated
Okay.
it. I gave it to you, Ben.
Oh
It was
man,
delicious.
I hated it.
I loved it.
Just something about like the flavored drinks and just why is this a drink? If it's not apple pie, don't fucking give it to me.
You know what? You know what? The rest of us hate how picky you are. That's what everybody.
I'm not that picky other than this. And if
Well,
my
here.
pickiness is Starbucks drinks, I think I'll survive. It's not
I'm gonna-
like vegetables.
I'll piggyback my would you rather off yours.
Okay.
Would you rather have a fat, juicy apple pie slice with a small vanilla? Could be vanilla bean. I'm a French vanilla man myself.
I want that.
So you get the
I
pie
want that.
slice with ice cream and a tall, hot black coffee,
Okay.
or whatever this apple pie monstrosity caffeine thing that you gave to Ben was.
Ugh, no. I don't want that one.
Calorically and caffeine content, they are the same.
I want the pie and the coffee. I don't want to drink the pie. Why would I want to drink the pie?
I want that big, tall black coffee
Me too, man.
with the
Are you
pie
kidding
and
me?
the ice cream.
I would
Oh,
absolutely.
Man,
I
does
would
that
make
sound
love
good.
to that. Are you
Wow.
kidding me? It would make love to
Holy
me.
smokes.
Maybe that's more accurate.
No
Just-
question.
Just
No question.
But you're totally right. It's the same calorie. So that's why after a couple sips, I was like, "What the fuck is this? I don't
Yeah.
want. I don't want.
Yeah.
Why would I want this?"
and then
I was so mad at myself.
That coffee's so hot after that little bit of ice cream.
Oh man. And then you gotta no, so then you do the quick bite of ice cream. And I love that hot pie. If you take a scoop of ice cream on the spoon and then you go through the hot pie and you get that yin and yang on the spoon
You gotta
of the
and
cold
you gotta
and
get
the
to
hot.
that section of the ice cream because it's melted, right? It's real. It's messy.
Yep.
But deep in there is a nice cold part.
Oh,
oh,
baby.
Yeah, when you get to
Man.
that. Okay, wait. What is your favorite? You
What
guys
is
are
up right now?
What is your favorite part of an apple pie? Is it the apple or is it because I love a good crust though? Like the apple with a good crust is my favorite.
It's both.
Or
I
if you
can't.
I
amp
do a-
up the crust,
But what
We're
crust are you
done
talking about? Are you talking bottom crust? Are you talking about side crust? Are you talking about top
talking about the whole
top
works.
crust? But what are you
Both.
going? What are you going after? I like
Top
that.
crust
Top.
is probably better.
I
top
like
is better.
when
It's
you
got
get
the
that
cinnamon sugar on top.
at the back of the slice, and you're going up against what was side crust.
Well, I mean, that's good too.
And there's
But
all,
it depends.
Sure.
Sometimes you have it's still good. Don't get me wrong. But if you have something that's like the crust is
But that's if we're talking about.
But the crust can make it
I'm
great.
having a slice of pie. Now, if there's the ice cream involved,
Gonna
still
I
like
can
pie.
handle a
don't
lot
eat
more of the
pie with
filling.
ice cream on it.
If the ice cream is there, then I can take that filling without being overwhelmed. Typically, the filling is almost too much without a lot of crust in your bite. But
Yeah.
if you get some ice cream in
with
there
ice cream you
to
can do
balance it out,
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
gotta have that coffee. I gotta have that. I
it's
can't
a
even
big.
pick it up.
It's black.
And it is black.
It's in a paper
just-
cup, obviously.
You can't pick it.
Maybe I even ordered it with one cream, and I'm not mad that it came out black
Right.
because
Yeah.
it balances
It's
against
so
this
hot.
pie. Yeah,
It's insane.
it's just like you
Yeah.
almost want
You wouldn't be able to drink it if you
didn't.
didn't have the ice cream.
Right.
Oh man.
Oh, all right.
I
I'm
guess we
sorry.
Have to make, pie
Well,
now.
I'm gonna
I
eat pie and
blacked
watch
out. What were we
Prey,
talking
so
about?
I have
Yeah.
no idea. And I think that brings this
Wait,
episode.
Did you have one, Ben? What
Yeah,
was
mine
yours?
was that dumb
This was
one about
first.
the Wheel of
Oh,
Time
I
and the
thought that was
Stormlight
like a
Archive.
joke one.
I'll
That's
bring
not
a real
real
one next
one.
time.
You
We'll
know
talk
what?
about would you rather lose your knees or your elbows. We'll get to that next time.
Yeah,
you
those
want
are-
straight locked arms or straight locked legs?
So
We'll
Legs.
hold on. Intern Ken has some budget information for
Okay.
you regarding
Yeah.
your would you rather, Ben.
All
so,
right.
Oh.
First of all, this is going to come as a shocker. Look, Rings of Power, first season, cost about $250,000.
Really?
250. Yeah.
$250,000,
Yes.
250,000
That's it?
for Rings
No.
of Power.
$250 million. Sorry, quarter of a billion.
Quarter of
Oh.
a
My
billy.
mistake.
I
Quarter
was
of a
like,
Big
Ow.
difference. Big difference.
I was like, that's like one guy's salary.
Quarter,
Maybe probably two.
I was like, how did they do that?
$250 million.
Okay.
They spent another $250 million to buy the IP rights.
Oh,
That's
shit.
wild. That's wild.
That is nuts.
Shit,
but
shit.
what did Disney bought Star Wars for $4 billion?
That's true.
Fuck.
And
But
look
they
what they
just
did
like
with that. So
That, and I'm like, I don't know, our groceries are going to be a little much this month. Like, that's
That's true, but Disney bought Star Wars. Amazon bought the rights to everything that happens in Lord of the Rings between the Silmarillion and the Hobbit. Everything that was there was never a book written
Yes.
about is
Yes.
what they bought the rights to.
Yeah, but
Yes.
that's still a lot.
it is
Well,
an
that's
immense
true.
amount of stuff
Yes.
you could make.
I
yeah.
mean, it's not like they're like one episode, you know.
But I don't have money. I don't have a number for Wheel of Time.
Right, because it
Well,
was
divided by 10 is probably that
250,000.
much.
It probably was.
But
10
like,
mil.
why is it that they're so? I mean, the rights for Wheel of Time, in comparison to Rings of Power, would have been microscopic.
Right.
Yeah. Like
So-
nothing compared to it. So why not put a little more money into the quality?
But also, why buy two large fantasy
Yeah.
properties?
That is kind of weird
Yeah,
that
it
they
is
did it
weird.
like back to back.
That would compete with each other.
seems
Maybe
like an
they were hoping
oversight,
like
yeah.
Wheel of Time would piggyback off Lord of the Rings.
But
Like they're
the-
hoping people who like Lord
It's
of the
more-
Rings though will be like, well, while that one's in production, I'll watch this one. Or
But what's
something. I
weird
don't
is
know.
this Rings of Power thing is, at least so far, pretty niche. It's pretty, but I guess
Yeah.
that works for people who don't know anything about it, right?
True.
Yeah.
Who,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know,
because you
because
can't make it too, you know.
huh? I don't know. What did they pay for it? I
Yeah,
don't know.
250,000.
All right,
That's
guys.
what-
Well, we can mull over this all we want. I need to go read a synopsis for Battlefield Earth, and then I'll get back to you. I need to find out.
Hold
Our
on.
next D list.
I'm sorry. I know, I'm dragging this out. We
you're
have a D list coming up, right?
We do. Let me just double check the date.
We do. So while Emily checks
It's
the
coming up soon.
whatever she's doing, So for anybody who doesn't know, okay, so what our new plan is we're going to do the D list on the first Thursday of every month. We announced that last time. We're going to keep that up. The audio for the D list is actually going to come out the next Thursday after that. So we're going to live stream our D list movie reviews in the first Thursday of every month,
which will be October 6th.
October 6th.
Okay.
The next one is going to be the Nicolas Cage film
Season of the Witch.
Season of the Witch.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right. I was like, I don't have it written down.
You guys want to make it Nope? You guys want to watch Get Out or Us or?
Oh my gosh.
I don't want to D-list
Yeah,
those,
but we can't
though.
D-list
Yeah,
that.
that's you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. I just want to watch a good movie.
I just want to watch those movies. I want to watch
But
those
we will
movies.
watch them, yeah.
But yeah, the podcast is back. Date Night Thrice, our top 3, the big 3. We're going to do once a month. We're going to record that right about in the middle of the month, and I think we can expect to see that release on the 3rd Thursday of the month. Is that correct, Emily?
Yes.
Okay. So, watch
third or fourth. I need to figure that out.
same feed, same stream, your same Date Night Dice podcast feed. We're just changing it up a little to Date Night Thrice, and we're having fun with it. And so I think that wraps up our very first inaugural episode of Date Night Thrice, which was actually number 49 of our podcast continuum. And I'm really happy to be back, happy to be hanging out with you guys, and I kind of like doing it like this.
I like this.
Yeah.
It's got a more. It's a little more. What are they going to think of next? What are they going
Right. It's very
Yeah,
collaborative, right?
It
I
is.
like that.
I like
that. All right. Well, until next time. From everybody here, I love doing this. The Date Night Dice Studio.
Is it still the Date Night Dice
The studio. All right.
Studio.
We'll see you guys later.
All right. Bye-bye.